Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Fun podcast. It's time for us to go over the Bahrain Grand Prix 2019. Rage was unable to make it this week, but I'm sure I found two suitable replacements in Foxworth and Hardy. How are you two this week?
I'm very good.
Absolutely terrible. Let's just talk about last weekend. Actually, no, let's talk about no weekend.
Talk about no weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you in the next one.
IndyCar.
Yeah, we're all incredibly disappointed. Let's move on.
We'll see you though.
Yeah, it was quite the race in Bahrain, wasn't it? It never disappoints, that track. It was, yeah, a lot of talking points, but I suppose we should just get straight into the main story of the weekend, which was Charles Leclerc. Faultless, really, all weekend, wasn't he?
Yep, faultless. Won the
Absolute
race.
superstar.
Nothing bad happened ever.
The race for you stopped at lap 47.
Yeah, right? That's those 47 laps in Bahrain. It's famously 47 laps.
Fantastic win for Leclerc. Let's move on.
Thank God one was here. Hamilton fans. Oh damn.
At least you're outnumbered this week.
Yeah. God's sake, Rage, where are you?
Where is he when you need him? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. There's nothing more to it. It's Formula One. It's motor racing. We know this, but for it to happen on his first when he dominated two multiple world champions, oh, so sad.
It was so upsetting.
It's going to be a shame in 20 years whenever he hasn't won a race and we realize that this was his only chance at a race win. That's not going to happen.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's not going to
That'd be
happen,
painful.
but that would be the worst. Oh.
Yeah, I mean he blitzed it all weekend. He was top of pretty much every session, top of every qualifying session, on pole by a quarter of a second.
Definitely had Vettel well and truly beaten that weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean I'm sure we'll get onto Vettel, but he's got to be browbeaten at this moment, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just totally beaten.
Been a slow start for Vettel, that's for sure. But at least he's back to his form of last season.
At least he's just consistent in one
Keeping
way.
appearances.
Yeah, I mean that was quite something. But yeah, let's talk through Leclerc's race to begin with. Not only was he dominant all weekend, he went down to third off the line, really, really struggling for grip, and then he just breezes back past Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel of all people.
Yeah, it was just like, see ya, I'm going past, bye bye, I'm gonna go just pull out this huge lead and go get this win.
Did you hear that he ignored team orders?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently, he was like, I'm faster than Vettel whenever he was coming up to him. And the team was like, just stay behind him for 2 laps. And then he immediately passed him, like halfway through the lap.
I mean, what else was he going to do? He's clearly so much
It's
quicker.
better seeing this than seeing Kimi Räikkönen being told that he says, okay, I'll stay behind. It's nice to see them actually ever go.
Well, yeah. Kimi Räikkönen's already, been at the top and stuff, so he still gets a paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, one thing was clear before this season: if Leclerc was going to get that favoritism from Ferrari, or at least that equality, he was going to have to prove himself early, and he did that in every single way. And it wasn't even close when he was racing with Hamilton and Vettel. He's just passed and gone. Incredible speed. And then we are going to have to talk about that 47 Fox, I'm afraid.
It did happen, Fox, I'm afraid.
Yeah, ERS. Well, it was part of the turbo recovery, I think.
Yeah, they said it was a cylinder failure.
It was a dropped cylinder, right?
Oh, really? I thought it was part of the engine recovery.
They said today
That's
they
their
said it was cylinder,
initial,
but initially they thought it was ERS.
Okay, so that's an even bigger drop in power then, because that's affecting the main bulk of the power unit.
Yeah, that affects the ICE a lot more, so it's going to be well down, especially on those straights. You could just see, he was putting his foot down, there's just nothing going. So hard.
Oh yeah, it's 40 kilometers an hour down in a straight line.
Yeah.
But that explains it, because I did see his engine recovery lights working every now and then in certain shots. So the cylinder makes more sense.
Mhm.
So
I love his team
it's-
radio though, and he was like, what's going on in the engine? It's something weird. It's just like if it was ERS, then you'd probably get more of a hint it was ERS, because then you'd be getting to the end of the straight and not getting to the rev limit of the gear or whatever. So to get it everywhere, it must have definitely like. I mean, you don't want to keep a calm head in that situation. A lot of people, especially certain people, would be just going off on one, going, "Oh, I can't drive this, impossible." He was just very calm and still said, "Okay, it is what it is. Let's just carry on."
yeah, I mean, let's see if that happens another 4 or 5 times if he remains so calm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
the first kind of time he's had to experience it. So I think, and he's a Ferrari driver at 21 in his second season. I think there's a certain amount of him being humble and knowing that. But yeah, he must have been screaming inside.
Yeah, internally screaming.
If that was Alonso in that Ferrari, he probably would have just parked it and just started storming off into the garage.
GP2 engine from Ferrari.
F2 engine.
Yeah, it's a great shame. He did nothing wrong, and it's one of those things. He was fortunately saved by the safety car, and still managed to finish on the podium.
Yeah,
So it was
it's
his
nice to
first
see another
podium.
team help out. I'm not going to get into that until we get to them later, but it was nice to see that one team go, "Hey, we'll protect your podium. It's fine."
He's a good lad. Let's switch off our cars simultaneously.
Yeah. Bring him to a nice steady stop.
I feel like there had to be a kill switch.
I have theories about that, but I'm sure we'll get to that when we get onto the Renaults.
The who? What?
A theory? A conspiracy? Leaked?
I know I don't normally have them, but it's almost certainly incorrect. But
Tinfoil hat in position.
I'm so yeah. Illuminati confirms. Yeah, there's not really much more to say on it. He's an absolute superstar, and he's proved himself at the highest level now. And he's, as we saw with Vettel in the race, which we'll move on to now, he's really put him in a bad position so far. I mean, Vettel did everything right. He got off the line, took the lead, and then, just like Melbourne, had no pace.
Yeah, it just seemed to just fall away. It was just it's so weird with Vettel at the moment, because it's just like it's not like we're hearing like, oh, it's mainly tyre deg, it's a this issue, it's a that. It just seems to, whatever it is, you just can't get the pace out of it. When Charles is just going past you, just easily, it seemed at some point, it was just like, what the hell is going on to Vettel this year? Is it all mentally? Is it more that side than is the car?
I think it's got to be mentally, because it's not. It's such a big difference between the two. And I think that's the thing. I don't think Leclerc. Yes, he had the perfect weekend, but I don't think it was necessarily all his pace this weekend. He had no competition from Vettel. And yeah, Vettel's just not in the right frame of mind for whatever reason. Qualifying, you can put down to.
Well, if you go back to 2014 with Vettel when Ricciardo joined the Red Bull, and all of a sudden Vettel couldn't keep up with him in his first year. Is we going to see a repeat?
Yeah, I think this is a bit different though, because it's a continuation from 2 years of potentially throwing away titles.
Yeah.
2017 was potentially more Ferrari's fault, but last year was 100% his. He had the car to win that title last year.
I think Ferrari still have full confidence in him if he doesn't maybe get a title this year.
I don't think so. I just genuinely think. I think Ferrari, if they had confidence in Vettel, wouldn't have put Leclerc in the other car.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody could see what he would do in it. And it's not historically what Ferrari do, is put 2 potential number 1 drivers in their cars. So,
exactly. Like you'd have like Massa and Alonso, Raikkonen, Vettel, Raikkonen, Alonso. There's always a number 1, number 2, and now you've got 2 people fighting for number 1. One that they know this is the future, they know which way to go with Leclerc. But how long can they last with Vettel before they go enough's enough?
Yeah, I think it's very telling with Vettel. There's a comment after the race that he's going to wait for be using the excuse of the engine regs in 21 to decide his future. But I could, if nothing dramatic changes, and we are very early in the season, and he is a 4-time world champion, so let's not count him out just yet. But
yeah, exactly.
if nothing changes and Leclerc does run away from him in the next 2 seasons, I could very easily see him walking away from the sport in 2 years if he doesn't recover the kind of form he needs. Because they're errors that you don't even see the midfield drivers make very often. That he's
It would be
making
ironic, or
Yeah.
not ironic, it would be quite funny if he ends up going back to Red Bull if Gasly doesn't do such a good job and they end up not being able to put anyone like, Jake Dennis in. So they have to go with Vettel.
Do you really think Vettel or Red Bull would want him alongside Verstappen?
No, I think if anyone's gonna get that seat, it'd be Albon.
What about
Well-
Dan Tickton though? Maybe if he starts doing well, if he gets a super license, because that's they've got a lot of interest in at the moment.
Tickton?
That's the issue. I think they've got to the young British driver. He's Formula 3, I think, at the moment.
Euro F3, I think it is.
Yeah.
F3. But the problem they've got is they're coming along almost too quickly now. The Red Bull juniors, they haven't got enough time to give them a chance. Like Gasly, I would have imagined you would want him to have a second season.
Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely keep him at Toro Rosso for a second year, but then when they're in that position of who they bring in, if they bring in another driver who's not on their program, that looks bad on the Red Bull Junior program.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll stick by it, but I think they'll have to keep Gasly in the car for at least a year to see who their options are. But
weird if
see
Fiat got the
Vettel
job
that
back. That'd be so weird to see.
Yeah,
If
who back? Sorry.
If Danny Fiat or Kvyat is back.
Yeah, I mean the memes, man.
Oh, the memes.
I think Albon is the better choice out of the two of them based on the first two races, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's more consistent.
Yeah, he's got a bit better pace. But yeah, I guess the real talking point of Vettel's race, obviously lost the position, was his battle with Hamilton. No matter how it ended up, it was pretty epic to see those two guys absolutely going for it on multiple occasions when we barely got to see it last year.
Yeah, but it almost felt like two grandpas going at it while their grandson was flying away from them.
Out in the way, yeah.
It was extremely good to see, though. Like when Hamilton was going around the outside twice, it was just like, oh, is he going to touch? Are they going to get past? It's just like, if you put two rookies in that kind of situation, chances are they're probably going to hit each other, and you get these two absolute trust in each other's ability. 9 world titles between them. And
yeah, trusting each other's abilities, and Vettel's never spun into Hamilton like 3 times last season, or crashed into the back of Bottas last season.
Yeah, but it is racing, wheel-to-wheel racing in terms of the position and the space they give each other. That you're right, only two complete experienced guys like that could do. And I'm not often praising of Hamilton, but there's no other guy on the grid that could have given that a go around the outside twice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, the first one, I thought he'd all gone mad. And he just absolutely sent it, braking 40 meters later, and he still managed to hold it for the corner. Obviously, he did have to let Vettel go ahead that time, but literally by millimeters.
I think he's been taking lessons from Daniel Ricciardo from last year, because sometimes you got like a stamp and send it.
Oh, it will hurt. It hurt his pride a little bit. For a lot of people said Ricciardo's now the best overtaker in F1. He's got to prove that wrong, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's got to be no record.
Because he was known as the overtaker, because he started from the back of the grid in his kart days, so he learned how to overtake. That story.
Yeah, they always had cheap carts as well. So
yeah,
they always broke and had to start at the back. He is a phenomenal overtaker, but it just reminded me even more than it has, I think, any time in the last year, because that, going up against a much quicker Ferrari and just the commitment and how much later that was, considering the difference between the cars, it was incredible. And then, of course, second time round, we were robbed of any further battles when Sebastian Vettel did his party trick and span it around. I mean,
you can tell like something's not right with this car for Vettel anyway, because if you're a 4-time world champion, you know how to drive a car. It's not like you don't. So to overdrive it in that corner, it just wasn't needed. So it's so like a lot of it has got to be again mentality. It's the whole psychological factor, mind games, whatever it is. But it's such a weird mistake, especially that corner, just to go like literally, it looked like he just slammed the full throttle on and then just lit up the rear tire. It was just so weird.
Yeah, it's more the heart going over the head in that situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's letting his throttle application come from his heart in terms of I must get back alongside him, and not understanding the level of grip. But it was you're right, it was a rookie mistake, the kind you see young drivers making, but you wouldn't expect of him.
Yeah.
In his defence, there was a little bit of wind, which is what a lot of people try to defend him with.
At least Ericsson didn't hit him.
Well, he might have done.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you ask him, he probably did.
Yeah, I forgot that was a possibility. Yeah, it's definitely Ericsson. Or is Bahrain, so maybe Gutierrez.
Oh yeah. Well, what the hell was that?
Yeah. Well, no, it was Maldonado hitting Gutierrez, wasn't it?
Yeah. Good old pasta.
And then we got good old pasta. And then we got one of the most spectacular moments of Vettel's car just shaking itself to bits as he went over the front wheel.
That was just incredible.
Front wing.
Just the way it just like went bang and all the sparks. It's just like, Jesus, if that can go just because of vibration on tires, then how like actually strong is the front wing? Especially when like look last year and Hamilton was stood on his front wing. It's just like, it just shows you how much force there work in the car.
Yeah, I mean, it it shows you what flat spots can do as well. It's talked about a lot in why is that image so small? Jesus. That's an incredibly low res image for everybody. It's a sparky moment. It's just undrivable, and that's why they always try and avoid the flat spots, and you'll always see them trying to go back out in quali when they get a flat spot in qualifying, because that's what it can do.
Yeah.
I think this was obviously the extreme case, but I mean Vettel knew straight away. That's the other thing, that he continued to try and race, didn't he? But as soon as he spun, he went over the radio that he needed new tyres.
Oh yeah.
So it was again sort of the lack of experience you would expect of someone of his caliber, to know that you would have to nurse it back in that situation. So
he drove like a rookie during the race at times, and then other times he drives like a champion. And then sometimes he drives if he's like Ferrucci or someone who was like new to the car and just couldn't. I have got one, didn't I? You know, but someone like a rookie, just you wouldn't make that kind of mistake you wouldn't expect to make that kind of mistake as a full-time world champion. You keep your calm head and you just go, okay, so I can't get in this lap, I'll go back with next. There's extra DRS zone, so if you get behind them, you get 3 chances. So he just lost his head so much in that race. You could tell like red mist for red number 5.
Yeah, and it was a result of Hamilton coming out so closely after the pit stop and having there's 3 DRS zones now in Bahrain, and I'm sure a point we'll get to later, but it's so much easier to follow this year, it would seem. And I think Bahrain proved that much more than Australia, with front guys being able to go wheel to wheel like that. That he should have known that he'd had more pace in the other 2 stints than Hamilton, so he had every chance of getting him back. But yeah, I think there's a lot going on in his head at the moment, and no matter what drivers will say outwardly or look like when they're with their teammates, Leclerc will be rattling him big time.
It's definitely, it's weird. I get the sense like it's a really uncomfortable working relationship, because he's had years of him and Raikkonen, and he's been told, don't worry, Raikkonen will never be allowed to push you. You can just get what you want your own way. And you look at the Mercedes way, where they've got Hamilton, Bottas, and even though this year, Bottas seems to bring the fight a bit more, which is great. It just seems that now that he's got Leclerc, and he knows, it's a bit like a Verstappen Ricardo thing. You could kind of see why Ricardo wanted to jump ship. It's wants to get in your head how you've got to say, well, look, I'm the 4-time world champion. I've got to drive like a 4-time world champion. If you make one mistake and your teammate wins it, it's gonna look really bad.
Yeah, you have 2 completely different ways of approaching it, don't you? You either have that mentality of, right, I need to get out of here quickly before I damage my career further, or you come from the Nico Rosberg chain of thought where you just get your head down, learn everything you can, and then have that one season where you do beat them.
Yep.
And people like Vettel and Ricardo, obviously that's just the way they are, and Hamilton's the opposite. He revels having that quick teammate next to him. He's never had.
Yeah, because when Hamilton joined the sport, his first teammate was Fernando Alonso, 2-time world champion. Straight away, he's got to go against it. Whereas when Vettel joined, I think he had Nick Heidfeld for a few races, and then ended up at Toro Rosso. So it was like,
yeah, that's true. He was BMW, wasn't he? First few races of last few races of 2007.
6
7.
or 7. Yeah.
7 and 8 was his first Toro Rosso season, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, he just doesn't deal with it very well, and he's going to have to this year because there's a long, long way. He can't hang up his gloves yet. So yeah, not a great race from him. Didn't cover himself in glory. But I guess we can talk a little bit about Ferrari's pace at least. Sandbagging in Australia, we think.
No.
There was talk that like in Australia they had too much cooling ducts open, so they were just running the car too lean. And then to come into Bahrain, a hotter climate generally, and to have that kind of performance was scary. But I don't know if it's full sandbagging or not, but they've definitely got something up the sleeve. That's definitely worth at least 2 times at least.
The general consensus of the paddock is they were protecting something in Australia,
Right.
whether it be an unreliable engine or an engine recovery system that's not fully reliable.
Well, they're reported by I think his name's
Or
Craig
cylinders that
Scarborough
drop.
on Twitter, and he said there's like a new kind of venting system into the engine that feeds more. It makes the engine have like I think it's it's something like a ridiculous amount of extra boost it can get out of the turbo straight away because it's getting more air through the airbox and it's directed to the right kind of place and it's already cooled down through a different cooler. So if they've got something like that kind of device, I think they called it an AF duct or something like that. If they were protecting that kind of secret, it's a bit then questionable if is that actually legal, and if it is, how long will it take other teams other engine manufacturers to bring it in if they want to, or
I don't see that they would protect that by purposely going slowly though, because that's the kind of thing that's going to be found out in scrutineering very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't hide any sort of visible thing. Is so easy for the FIA to find because they strip those cars down to the bone after the races, and then
Didn't they
back
change
up again.
scrutineering?
Oh yeah, they did a bit where the teams now get to do it, but they have to submit a form saying everything's compliant. But if there's something, I think if they arrived in Melbourne and they were like, finished so far ahead, everyone already starts to question what's going on. Then if the FIA want, they can still say, "Listen, can we have a look at your car?"
Okay, I had no idea that had changed. That seems not at all in the spirit of Formula One. Yeah, here's a piece of paper saying everything's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
is that not
Red Bull,
easily
I think Red
gameable?
Bull
Am
did
I
it on
missing
Friday.
something there?
Red Bull had, on Saturday morning, Red Bull had like a chassis problem, and they filled out a form. Said, "Yeah, we repaired it ourselves. Here you go." Signed off, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, it's fine." So
Okay, yeah, that's normal motorsport scrutineering. That's not the same as regulation checks.
Oh yeah, not the same as regulation
which
checks.
is what they do. Which is what they do after the race.
Yeah.
Scrutineering to say the car is race ready. Yeah, I wasn't aware the FIA used to do that anyway. I thought it was, or they sort of just were there whilst everything was proved. But something illegal on the car, they check all the gaps and under the engine cover and everything. They check after each race, so that would have been found out. I mean more in the terms that they were protecting some kind of unreliability in Australia.
Yeah,
That's what
there could be an
I
inherent
got.
fault, but maybe there's that thing like if you're too good at developing something, so then something's always going to break because you've over-engineered it. If you look at Lotus's philosophy, it was like road cars, whatever. It was always add lightness and simplify. So if you start overcomplicating systems, and you start introducing this and that, like they've got better. If we look at the starts, for example, they're great at different starts, but the more complex the car gets, the more likely it's going to break down.
Yeah, and I think we'll see how they get on, but it bore fruits in terms of Charles's reliability dip, and that just fans that flame of speculation, doesn't it? That there was something they were protecting, but there's no doubt that if all that is just speculation and it was purely they didn't get the setup right in Australia, then they are in such a great position going forward in the season. But I was surprised how close Mercedes were, though, in terms of qualifying and race pace. It wasn't as big as we'd seen all weekend. That's definitely a gap they could overturn if they get the setup right in turn.
It seems like these cars are so much more sensitive with these new regs that, like, it seems like you've got such a smaller window of just getting it right, especially with the tire blanket changes. So the rear tires are only at 80 degrees when they leave the garage, so there's a lot to be gained from it. But it just seems like whoever that weekend shows up, whether you got the fastest car or not, if you get the right setup for that car, you could easily take pole.
Yeah, I think we saw that a lot last year. I think that's a continuation of it, and also, yeah, finding out how they set up these and what alterations they can make with these new front and rear wings is a big change. So I genuinely think it could be a seesaw battle all year. But what's good is that Ferrari are in the battle,
Oh, yeah, it's good to
which
see
I
a
think a
proper
lot of
full battle.
people, a lot of people were fearing they weren't after Australia, but they 100% are. So we've got a title fight. And
I think people forget that Australia is a weird track. It's not necessarily the best, test of pace.
Yeah, even
oh,
Bahrain's weird with all
absolutely.
the sand. So when they get back to the European season, that's when we're going to see proper fight on fight constantly. Especially you get to Spanish Grand Prix, Barcelona, or you get through to Silverstone. The kind of tracks like that is when you're going to see the difference in probably the driving more than the car because they'll both be so close.
Yeah, but the Australia point is 100% valid. I was telling a lot of people at work, just wait. Let's see what happened in Bahrain because Australia is a unique case. I ended up messaging most of them.
Yeah, it's when people on Twitter
I
are like, "Oh, I
told
thought
you
it
so.
was in Ferrari." It's like one race in. It's just Australia. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
So-
it doesn't match anything else. Go on for it.
Just general question between Australia and Bahrain. Do you think it'd be better to have Bahrain as the opener again?
No, I think Australia is the season opener now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
We're
they
all
pay a
used
little
to
extra
that.
anyway to get that as well. So you get to then go through contract negotiations, and I think
Okay.
it's easy having Australia as an opener because it keeps everyone like guessing because it's such a unique track and that's the beauty of it. Whereas if you start in Bahrain, it's I don't say it's less predictable because it's not, but it just seems that Australia is such a good opener because look at 2013 when Kimi Räikkönen won the Lotus, no one expected that for testing. So it just seems like it can work with some other teams better than others. Maybe it takes the top teams a little bit longer to get their car set up for it, and then thirdly focusing on tracks like Barcelona and that. Then Australia is such a good level playing field kind of track because it's so unique and different.
Yeah, you can see anything happen there. It can be a great race. The problem the last few years has been overtaking, and that was improved this year. So it's going in the right direction. No, I see your point. At having an exciting race or a proven exciting race for the opener would maybe be better for the sport, but at the end of the day, yeah, I'm sure there is a contract involved. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure Australia are being paid more money, paying more money for it, and it's not tradition because it's not always been the season opener, but it's that's what we're used to in this modern era. And I think it's kind of important. I don't want to get up at a normal time on my first F1 weekend. I want to get up first thing in the morning.
Yeah, well, you stay up all night and regret it later.
Yeah, and literally throw away
Right.
my sleep cycle.
Yeah, it's like 2 in the morning here, so I just go to sleep and wake up at like 7 and watch it.
Oh, you're very lucky. Then.
But then I guess all the Europeans are a weird time for you as well.
What?
I guess all the European races are a weird time for you as well. So,
Not really. I
In
mean, they're at
country.
like 7 or 8 a.m. So it's actually kind of nice just kind of wake up and watch some F1 and then go on with the rest of your Sunday.
yeah, you see, I wouldn't enjoy that.
I
Go
wouldn't
out too
enjoy
many
that.
times on Saturday night. I wouldn't want to be getting up every time. That's far too much hangover. Okay, let's move. That's not worked at all, boys. I'm not good at podcasting today. I picked an image for Mercedes that is, I think, 4K.
Ooh.
So trying to resize this is
It's gonna
not
look-
going well.
It's gonna look really well, really good on my 720p monitor.
I didn't want it to be 4K. It just is, but it's taking me like 6 mouse drags to
6
resize
mouse
this.
drags. That
Why is
that
it?
is
How
that is
big is
quite
this
a
picture? Oh
Jesus.
my god!
What am I watching on my OBS?
It's massive.
Are you
I'm
sure
sure I think it might be like an 8K. Oh, I've clicked on the wrong image now. I am pro at podcasting, okay?
Looks very
You
grey.
sure? Yeah,
This
it's
is-
just
This is why I did not want to do this live, but I do admit it's better live, but not in this regard.
oh,
There we go.
I'm starting to see some red
Oh,
on
we're
my.
starting to see something. Looks like Hamilton.
Oh,
It's a new guesting section on the Formula 1 podcast.
What happens next with
What's
Twin
the
Barrel
image?
Jimmy?
It's the 8K image challenge.
that took forever.
It's a massive picture. I don't know why. Anyway,
Goodness.
Mercedes.
Oh, fine.
It was a win for Lewis Hamilton.
Boo.
I guess he'll be happy with it, but
take
he
it,
was very gracious in defeat. In Charles's defeat, one of the first things he said on the radio message was towards congratulating Charles on the race, and he seeked him out straight after finding Bottas. But there's no denying it; they weren't on the pace.
Oh yeah, they were beaten all weekend on pace.
And the car just looks tricky to drive. The one thing that gave me hope for Ferrari in Australia was that it looks absolutely planted at all times. And Mercedes, whenever you're on board with it, in the early practice sessions and even at some points in qualifying, Hamilton was fighting. I know he likes to fight the car, but he was fighting it like hell. They have a history of producing divas early on in the season.
Oh yeah, you have to calm the diva down by later on. At the start, there's always just proper diva mode.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. It must be a nightmare trying to get a setup for that car. That being said, Hamilton, to be fair, did a flawless race and put himself in the position to benefit from Leclerc.
He's done well with the soft tyres. I thought it was so odd to see that he's the fastest tyres, brand new set, and all the performance had gone, but he done well to keep the pace up. They're still 9 seconds ahead of Bottas.
Yeah, I think that was a strategy mistake though. From
yeah,
Hamilton's side of the garage. I think if he'd put the softs on, he could have attacked Vettel earlier. Because he seemed much more comfortable on those tyres. No, it's the mediums.
Yeah.
They're yellow. I keep wanting to say soft.
Thank you, Pirelli, for making it more complex.
Yeah, why don't they just do soft as yellow, medium as white, and hard as orange?
So they're the same colours as last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would make much more sense, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. I wonder if those colors are just more like primary. I don't know, just easier or
Clear
more
distinction
distinct
between the three.
Yeah.
Oh, someone would have been paid about 10 grand to make that decision, as is with marketing nowadays.
Probably Paul Hembry. For final say.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't actually mind the tires. I've been complaining this whole time in Twitter chat and stuff, and I didn't really mind it this weekend. So.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's something you get. Yeah, you're gonna get used to very quickly.
Like the Halo,
for
example, we've got used to that after the year, so
we don't even talk about it. Yeah, I think that's because we don't want to anymore. We're just ignoring it.
Yeah.
What?
I still don't enjoy it.
Well, that's the one thing IndyCar's got a better design on. I'll give them that.
What?
Yeah, what's weird though is a lot of the benefits of Halo would be seen more in IndyCar.
Oh yeah.
Well, they tried it. It didn't work on the ovals. They're trying other things.
What? Because of how important the straights are.
Yeah,
that's the only time it affects it, surely.
I don't know. I didn't actually. There's something wrong with how it affects the aerodynamics of an oval, and so they couldn't use it.
Maybe the G-force because you're constantly cornering at 200 miles an hour, not breaking down to 60, up to 80, up to 100, 60, 40.
I don't know what the problem was, but they're trying to win spring and stuff. But Justin Wilson would have definitely liked to have a Halo device.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan Weldon would have definitely loved to have a Halo device.
A lot of the reasons for it being brought in were IndyCar related, and it's a shame that hopefully they find something soon. But yeah, let's not talk about it. That's the 10 seconds the Halo gets this year. That's it.
I'm
I
ready
don't know.
for
I
someone.
don't care about the Halo. I think it's a great idea, but that's just me. I'm safety first.
I see the benefits of it. I just hate the look of it.
Yeah.
I don't care about looks.
Yeah, so Hamilton was in the position to benefit. He did as good a job as he could. Old Bottas back.
Yep.
No, I don't think he's back. I think, I mean, obviously he didn't do well this race, but I think he's going to be back the rest of the season. I mean, I don't. Is Bahrain one of his good races?
He's never been outscored by a teammate at Bahrain. I think that's what Sky was saying until this race.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
I
Probably just messed up the setup. Would be my guess.
yeah, personally, I think it's this car. it's so tricky to set up. We saw Hamilton so far off the pace in Australia, and it's reversed here. So it's 1-1 in that sense, I guess. And
Yeah. I mean, well, they were
And
both
especially-
off the pace here.
yeah, but it was the same 20-second gap between Hamilton and Bottas that was reversed previously. So,
Yeah.
but I think Bottas has got every chance to be involved this year because you got two Ferrari drivers that are, no matter what you say with Vettel, he will be involved at some point.
Oh yeah, not that out.
You hope.
Yeah, God, let's hope so. So
Vettel
yeah,
on pole, and he spins it at the start somehow.
that'd be the
Maybe he's
warm-up
got
lap.
vertigo. It's just undiagnosed. He's constantly spinning around himself. Someone needs to get him checked out by a doctor.
It's the moustache. It's ruined the aerodynamics.
Yeah, it's the way
that's
balance
true,
is gone because the weight.
He needs to get back that arrow hair from 2018. You guys remember that haircut?
I don't know off the top of my head. No.
No.
Oh, all right. I'll post it in the Discord real quick. But yeah, keep on talking.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was an off weekend for Bottas, but at the end of the day, he did such a good job in Australia. I think he's definitely going to be stronger this year. Whether it's enough to challenge for a title, we'll wait and see. But yeah, Mercedes, I think they impressed everybody in qualifying by how close they got. So,
Shows how good the party mode must be.
well, very true. Yeah, that could have been the difference. But it's going to be a season-long battle. Not much more to say on Mercedes, I think, really there.
Yeah.
That one. I remember that one.
Yeah. Go faster.
Okay.
He won the first two races of the season, though. There's some memes with that.
Particularly like the Marlboro one. Sponsorship, even then. Always finding their way into F1.
Yep.
Okay. The next team I had on the list in terms of an interesting weekend. With a bit, these images are doing my head in. This one's tiny now. That's
Before we move on, real quick,
Go on.
did you see Hamilton as he passed Leclerc on the straight that he lifted up his hand?
Yeah,
I did. I wasn't sure because Hamilton does often cool his hand
Oh,
out the
okay.
cockpit. So I'm not, but I did see that and think it might have been a sort of sorry, mate.
I think that that's what Formula One was saying it was, but I don't know if Hamilton said it was that.
I think it probably was. I think he was so quick to be gracious towards Charles, and it was nice to see him do that. I guess.
That's just a good image.
I feel like I like this Hamilton, and if I had watched Formula One before like 2017, I probably would hate Hamilton with a dying passion. But yeah.
To be honest, the times I hate Hamilton were his McLaren days. I think since he gone to Mercedes, he has become a more likable driver. But
I'm not going to comment.
you're welcome to. I'm not going to rebut you.
It's fine.
He's in my good books at the
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
Some great overtaking. And
Have you been
he's
hashtag
gracious in defeat.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
that you the third team to lead a lap in Bahrain.
Yeah.
I see that's what we're moving on to.
They did lead a lap with Daniel Ricciardo, didn't they?
Yeah. They're gonna win, guys. It's Renault's gonna world champions 2020.
Yeah, it's just teething problems with that engine.
No, yeah. Definitely not
I mean,
inherent fault. Going to keep breaking down.
No, I mean, we'll get, yeah, and it's apparently the same failure as Science had in Australia as well. It's not worrying at all. I mean, we'll get to their race performance in a bit because up until that point they're very good. But
Should we cue the Jaws music for Norris's engine?
Oh, don't say that,
fine.
please.
Yeah, that's the one Renault engine I don't want to be damaged this season.
Say.
I've never seen anything like it. I believe it's happened with two McLarens before, about 10 years ago, but it was on separate laps, but they both parked up in the same place. But just bizarre. Like they seem failures in comparison with each other because Nico's was definitely something going bang.
Yeah,
And Ricardo's was
the metal go bang.
Oh yeah, you saw it pop out the back. But Ricardo's was definitely electronics related. My theory on this, it's unlikely.
Tinfield hat position.
No, you see, I think the Renault engineers, they've obviously got all these computers that control the engine. And their first concern would have been damage on other components on Hulkenberg's engine. I wonder if they switched off the wrong engine.
That'd be hilarious.
It's a stretch, but it's so... It's far too bizarre to be a coincidence. Like, whether they were trying
to do that though, can they? It was out years ago. Like, only the driver, they can tell driver how to turn it off, but they can't send like a wireless instruction to turn itself off. So
I thought that only related to engine modes and managing it.
No, the whole car must be driven. But
for safety, I think they can.
I think that's what. I think turning the actual engine off, there's got to be something they can do remotely.
I'd be surprised.
It's a long shot, a conspiracy theory, but
although you did notice the ERS light on Ricardo's car did go straight away to red.
So yeah, they told him to jump away from the car for risk of electrocution.
Yeah. I loved his interview afterwards. He said, "I didn't fancy getting electrocuted today."
No, which is why he left the steering wheel out, which he got criticism for, both from the marshals. But it's apparently the same thing Science had to do in Australia.
Same thing Hulkenberg did in Mexico 2017.
Well, yeah, that's a bit too far apart to be worried about coincidence. So,
well, I was just saying, issues, like stewards being mad about stuff like that.
Oh yeah. But I think that's the more worrying thing. I think they are unrelated, Hulkenberg and Ricardo, but the related failure between Ricardo's and Science is probably the bigger worry for Renault. Because I mean, up until that point, they'd had a cracking race. Hulkenberg, from where he was on the grid, in the top 10 by the end of lap one, wasn't he, or 11th?
Oh yeah,
he was.
I think he was 11th.
Wasn't he like 6th? Oh wait, what?
By the end of the first few laps, he got from 17th to 11th.
Yeah, he's just smashed his way through the grid, helped by the incident at turn 1, but they were showing great pace and looked where they should be or where they need to be this season, which was best of the rest. And then I think Ricciardo had that pace to be with Hulkenberg. He just went with the wrong strategy with the one stop.
You're rich. Sorry, Vince, got that message.
Yeah, incredibly worrying for Renault.
It's Rage Ale will fuck it for you as well. Here's get up to. Yeah, Rage has been.
What do you think Daniel Ricciardo's
He's
thinking?
Had
Not again.
Hospital.
At least I got a nice paycheck.
Last game about it.
Can be the only benefit at this moment.
He is on recovery. Don't worry, he will be back soon. It's just a moment, so get well.
At least I'm #1 driver. Oh wait, Nico Hulkenberg has more points than me. What?
Yep, that won't help as well. But yeah, I mean, everyone was saying it. It seemed bizarre for him, regardless of Renault's performance overall, for him to leave Red Bull because the biggest fault was with the engine, and then to move to the works team of that engine.
Well, yeah, we still gotta talk about the engine of Red Bull, but we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is improved. And it's probably better than the Renault, so...
I think Ricciardo's probably thinking, oh, please don't let this be last year's Red Bull, just painted yellow and black. I can't have that again.
Exactly. That's what I think he's thinking. Yeah.
Do you think that Ricciardo is actually that unlucky, or do you think that there's something with his driving style that breaks engines?
Potentially.
I think
'Cause,
his
like,
driving
there's-
style breaks wings more than engines.
Yeah. Oh, that was the best radio message. Did he hit me?
That was good.
It was pretty succinct from
Renault is
Hulkenberg, wasn't it?
Red Bull is lucky.
Yeah.
He hit me. I left him space.
Yeah.
Both
Renault was just
very factual and to the point, as you'd expect from a German.
The way they left, I couldn't think of it.
So both
Self-destruct.
cases.
The first one was
absolutely.
shock. He was like, "Did
Yeah.
did
Oh,
he
no.
hit me?" It's like, what?
Yeah, that was Ricciardo's mistake. It wasn't him trying to get back at Hulkenberg. He just locked up, didn't he?
Yeah.
And a nice little slow mo shot. I don't think I've ever seen that. A tire literally just neatly bending the front wing.
Yeah.
Just bent the end plate
Clearly,
over.
yeah. And they anti-puncture tires.
Would have been funny if it was a team order. We need to adjust yourself and your front wing. We're going to increase it by 1 click forward, like driving over it.
Yeah,
Reset
next
the
couple of
springs.
days it'll be announced Renault disqualified from their DNFs because of flexible front wings. She made of like some kind of soft rubber.
Not Rich forever. My chat just said he thinks it's the late braking that's destroying his engines and being too aggressive.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, if he
could be.
uses the engine braking as well, as aggressively as he uses the brakes, then it will put a lot of strain on it. And if, as we believe it is, it's some kind of energy recovery failure, then yeah, obviously the rear brakes do a lot of that work and are linked to that system. So it's possible. You'd think if that was the case, he would have picked up on it by now, though.
Yeah, he's probably changed his braking 4 or 5 times and they think it's braking in his car.
Yeah, maybe.
See, I personally thought that the reason why they both DNF'd is because Ferrari was trying to take out the Mercedes and they just missed. So, yeah.
Ferrari were trying to take out the Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Leclerc, yeah.
Why would two Renaults breaking down take out Mercedes?
No,
thought-
they were trying to kill the Mercedes engines. Duh. And then
What, by
they
breaking
killed-
down?
Yeah, the kill switch. They clicked the Mercedes kill switch or the Renault kill switch instead of the Mercedes kill switch.
Right.
Simple as
That line explains what you were saying more.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you.
It'd be hilarious if like Ferrari are like, hey, if you break it down for us and give us Leclerc's podium, we'll give you
That's-
like Ferrari engines next year.
Yeah,
Development.
Yeah,
This
give
is all
the
conspiracy.
works team Ferrari engines.
Your engine's so bad, we'll give you one of ours. You break down.
Yeah, maybe McLaren, but yeah, not Renault.
Yeah, Rich, there
I
was a
still-
lot of fuel usage. That's a good point. They were struggling with fuel at the end.
Yeah, Ferrari were as well, and they Leclerc mentioned that even if that safety car hadn't come, he didn't think he was going to get to the end. That could have been related to the engine issue, though.
True.
But yeah, bad day for Renault, really.
Yeah,
let's
and
hope
such
it
a
gets
great
better.
double point result too. You know,
I think
but
I think Ricciardo would have dropped out by the end
Oh, yeah.
of the points.
probably.
But Hulkenberg would have been, clearly
was
best of
sixth.
the rest.
Best of the rest. Oh,
It's a shame. Right, let's. Oh, I know what it is now. It's because it's taking the image resolution from the previous image, and if it's a really small image, then it makes the next one massive. Oh, God.
Technical
Annoying me.
difficulties.
What team is it going to be next? We'll find out when I've resized this massive image.
It's in 12K. Oh my god. I know it's a
Massive.
track. I'm guessing it's Bahrain.
Let's leave that logo out. There we go. Red Bull.
you spoiled it for me. It hasn't showed up yet.
Oh, I'm
Still
sorry.
Gasly.
I'm not going to leave like a minute pause in the stream while it catches up for you two. I think any face was saved by Verstappen dragging the performance out of that car because it did not look anywhere near the front two this weekend.
Nope.
Oh no, it was so far behind. Same old.
But what's the difference? Because everything from the Honda engine suggests it's quicker than the Renault.
Sky, Mark Brundle on Sky made the point that it does look like they haven't got to grips with this era rig yet, and they even interviewed Christian Horner. He said the car's 9 times throughout the year, so it could just be getting the setup with the era right. I mean, these are highly sensitive front wings and rear wings. Plus, they run a lot more rake than the other team, so if it's got to all interconnect together, they don't have frick anymore. So it just seems like it's so much harder to drive that car to get performance out of it.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's the car. Yeah, which is the surprising thing, though, isn't it? Because you wouldn't expect it from an Asian new car with new regulations.
Yeah, you expect it to be miles better than what it is now.
Yeah,
I think
But
they're also having issues with the tires as well, switching the tires on.
yeah, I've heard a few things about that potentially. Yeah, it's difficult. I think Verstappen's surprisingly being the most mature and pragmatic about it, and saying what is probably true is they have started better this year than they have in the last 2 years, and they always outdevelop everybody else. So
I can't wait to Monaco to see how well that car does by then. Because if that's got the engine like as well as good as they say it is, and by then they
Until
start
they
to get
both
better with
crash?
that era. No, because I think for Monaco this is a long shot prediction that Verstappen will go out into the lead and Gasly will end up crashing out in like 12th.
I think it might be reversed, knowing Verstappen's form around Monaco.
I think
Could be
they're
a
both
change.
gonna crash out.
We're getting Monaco
think-
in early.
I think you're right. I think Monaco will definitely show the strengths of that car, but as we know, they have to be more than just a Monaco specialist. What they've been the last few years, and that's what they've been struggling with.
Do you?
It's,
I mean, this is completely off topic. Do you think that Monaco should be a double points race?
no.
Yeah, because
It's
like
ridiculous.
Indy 500 is double points for IndyCar.
Right, but I'm not particularly interested about what a national championship does.
I thought you were going to say you weren't interested in
National?
IndyCar then.
What is
Just
that?
say it, Jay.
What do you mean by national?
The problem with all American motorsports, they're national championships. They're not world championships.
That is true.
I mean, they are international though.
No, but you're,
No, because they're held in one country.
they're only held in this.
No, they aren't. IndyCar races in Canada. They're going to race in Brazil, and there are talks about going back to Japan.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I had no idea they were doing these one-off token races.
Oh yeah, these non-championship races.
Those are whatever. Okay.
It's just a thing. They're not in the national championships. Yeah. He's a great driver in the American Nationals.
God bless him.
I know your point, Fox. Their country's big enough that America's big enough they don't need to be world championships, but at the same time they're national, so they're a small championship.
I guess.
I love how Red Bull turned into national championships in America.
Just bring up IndyCar on this show and you'll see how quickly I turn.
Ericsson's doing well in IndyCar.
No, he's not.
That's the whole joke.
I thought it was. Just wanted to make sure.
It's a
people
Jake
know
Dennis
that.
joke.
Fucking Marcus Ericsson.
How long do you reckon Red Bull will actually give Pierre Gasly if he can't get this performance?
That's the big talking point, isn't it? He was pretty shocking once again, and he can't blame the track for not being an overtaking track this time.
In terms of the whole season.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I don't know that they would risk Albon, and I'm pretty certain they wouldn't put Kvyat back in that car under any circumstances, even though he maybe is not a bad choice considering the experience. But I think they'll give him the year. I really do. We've got to wait and see. He's still incredibly inexperienced. That Red Bull, as you say, may be having issues with the tyres and the handling that might take a bit of time to get to grips with.
I mean, he was in near tears at the end of Q2.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like it, didn't it?
I wondered if, this could be, again, tinfoil hat on conspiracy theory, whatever, Illuminati confirmed. But it looked like when they were testing, it looked like Gasly was ready. He's like, right, I'm going to just drive the limits of this car. I'm going to push it, and because he had crashed, and having the word of Helmut Marko was saying, your job is on the line here. It might have unsettled him that much that he's too scared to push the car now. Could be a factor in a way. Like he can push it enough, but not the way it needs to be on level with Max. If it was like Albon and Gasly in that car this season for two rookies, then it'd be more forgiven. But when you're going up against Max, you've got to be on your game, and he's just not.
Isn't Max also younger than him?
I
think they're the same
think
age,
Gasly's younger.
No.
It's close if it is.
I think Gasly's like 24. 23, and I think, Verstappen's 22. Or even 21.
There you go.
Yeah, he's 21, yeah. So, 2 years younger, and he's the...
Verstappen's not 21. Verstappen's at least 22.
No, I just
He's
looked
21.
it up. He's going to be 21 until September 30th.
Hey? But he became the youngest winner at the Spanish Grand Prix in 2017 at 21 and 72 days.
No,
I thought he was 20.
He was 18. Was he not? Yeah, he was 18.
He was 18 in 2015.
In the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, he was 18.
No, he wasn't.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page.
Not Rich says Max and Leclerc 21 and Gasly is 24. So cheers for that, Rich, if that's true.
What was that?
He said that Max and Leclerc are 21 and Gasly is 24.
I know Leclerc's 21. I thought... I must be wrong.
That's rare.
No, it's not so rare actually. Once you get to know me, Hardy, I think I know far more than I do. He was 18.
Yeah. You know who else was 18 whenever he won a race? Colton Herta.
20,
IndyCar has been.
21 and 73 days.
IndyCar has been? He just won a...
I'm sorry. I have to trigger people at times. It's my job.
I watched a bit
Is
of
it?
that.
I watched like 5 laps of it.
Yeah, it seems like he was gifted it. So,
I mean, yeah.
Still better than Ferrucci by miles, though.
I know.
Youngest IndyCar winner. It was very impressive. But that's the 2 minutes of IndyCar you're getting this time, Fox.
Okay, well, an extra minute. Do you think
so?
Pit? Well,
it's a Formula One podcast. No.
Well, I was going to talk about a regulation change, but sure.
What in IndyCar?
No, I was wondering, like, would you? Because, like, obviously Colton Herta won because they closed the pits, and then the entire field bunches up, and then the pits open for people to pit. Do you think that would be a good idea for people to not exploit the safety car in Formula One?
I think it takes away the creativity of the strategy. Look at Germany last year, in, out. It's that split second that you've got to get it right. If you could pit in early, you could get the tires, but then you've lost the place, and it's so much more open. It's having the rules open like that kind of way for the pits allows the creativity that needs to be in there to create these dramatic moments of like, oh, the Red Bull's pitting, and he's going to be faster for 10 laps, and not, well, we're closing laps. We're not closing the pits for 8 laps, and you've got 2 laps if you want to pit. It's much better with open.
It's needed in Formula One. It's produced some of the great races. My favourite race of last year was China, and that wouldn't have been possible without being able to pit under the safety car. I think at the moment Formula One needs every bit of excitement it can get in its racing. So maybe IndyCar is a bit closer and a bit more exciting. That it doesn't miss having that. But I still think IndyCar would be more exciting for having that rule. So yeah. 21 and 73 days was actually Vettel. So I got the years and days right, just the wrong driver.
Yeah.
Still a pass.
It's a pass in some respects, yeah.
C+.
Yeah, on to just finish up on Gasly, I guess. Yeah, it is worrying. He's got the hardest taskmaster in Helmut Marko, and he's got the richest history of success stories to go up against, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got all those junior drivers in the wings saying, if you don't perform, we're going to step up and do it better than you. Like Big Dennis.
the likes of Jake Dennis confirmed for
Oh yeah, indeed.
for China. I think you've just got to look at Helmut Marko's. Just put it another way, Helmut Marko is the kind of guy that will look at. He's now looking at everybody and expecting them either to win, like they did at Toro Rosso, winning a Toro Rosso, sorry, which is actually a comment made to certain drivers at certain times. It's come to light. And they get a good result, and like, yeah, it's a good result. Helmut is like, well, it's not a win at Monza, is it?
That was such a good helmet, Marco.
I'd never even heard him speak. I don't think. No, I'm sure I have. That was terrible. And then you got Verstappen and Ricciardo and Vettel that walks into Red Bull and have years of success. So, yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, let's see. Let's give him time, but he doesn't appear on the face of it to be the superstar that Red Bull expect from him so far.
Yeah. I did just put him in my fantasy team. That's unfortunate. Though he didn't do too bad on points.
I had a good weekend, I'm not gonna lie. Again.
You did. You closed up the gap, as far as I'm aware, on my boss from work.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
you've got to beat him, I'm afraid,
Okay.
because I can't live with that for the rest of the year.
Okay, we'll get to the. I'm sure we'll get to the fantasy at the end anyway. So we can
Yes,
see where
we
it
do.
is.
We do have a dedicated section for that. Absolutely.
And we can see Rage's team.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Best
I'm
of
saying,
the week.
but I'm ahead of Rage.
You made a Rage.
I'm
He's
ahead of
ahead.
Rage. Don't tell him. It's never happened before.
How did you make a Rage?
he's
I'm
ahead.
of Rage
Wow.
in fantasy.
Jesus.
So yeah,
that's
final
too
thoughts on Red Bull Honda for me is so far it's not panning out. I don't think.
bad. Ooh,
I
next
mean,
car.
it's going to pan out, but I don't think it's going to pan out. Like, right, it's not to its potential yet. I think they're slower than last year.
Yeah,
Like-
well, no, I think they're faster than last year. At this point last year, they're definitely faster. Whether they can actually challenge the title, we'll wait and see. But I still hold a lot of hope for them because of how they finished
Rich,
last
what
year,
do you mean? Do you
and
have
how
one
they
I can
finish it
join,
every year,
like, during
and
which
how they've started
this podcast,
year.
by the way,
If you go on that trajectory, Max Verstappen.
this podcast is Twin Barrel J and Rage's podcast. I get invited to do it if they need me, and because Rage is currently recovering, then me and Fox have been asked to do it again. So I won't be on this all the time. So you have to message, if you go to Twin Barrel J chat and ask him, he might be able to fit you in.
Maybe it was apart from Lewis Hamilton. I stopped calling me up on this.
I know that
Fantasy
that was
League.
true for 2017.
yes,
He
if you go
scored
to
the
Twin
most
Barrel
points in the
J's,
second half of the season 2017. I don't
YouTube,
know if that was true
just
for
type in
2018.
TBJ Racing. He should have
He
the
scored a
league
lot.
code there. You can ask him because I
He did
don't have
score
it
a
on
lot,
me.
yeah.
We'll leave it
Unfortunately.
at that.
Um,
You're probably right.
we
as
should be able to
usual,
join
Fox.
if you're F1 fans.
Yeah, always right. Until we get
should be
the
good.
third person to come in here and then correct me.
Well, yeah, we need a correcting corrector.
Someone
Yeah.
to correct Fox? That never happens.
Ted, what are you doing?
Fritchie's the best driver in the world.
He is pretty good.
Haas World
He is
Champion
pretty-
2019.
Yeah, that was the prediction.
What?
Let's go, K Mag.
What?
She's getting so confused, bless.
Hashtag blessed.
McLaren. Let's move on, shall we?
Oh, what
Oh.
a team. What a story. I am so happy for Lando Norris and Fantasy.
I am so happy I switched him.
Same. I brought him in.
Yep,
Oh,
I did.
I'm so
I'm
mad.
sure we'll talk about fantasy in the fantasy section, but in terms of their on-track performance,
McLaren could have had a podium. That's all I'm gonna say.
okay, show you're working.
You talking about the incident with Sainz and Verstappen?
Yeah, Sainz believed that he had better pace than the Mercedes and the Red Bull, which also, given the
The Mercedes,
He did
Yeah,
come out and
that's what he
say he
said.
thought he had better pace than the Mercedes at the start.
did he?
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
that to Rachel Brooks in the.
and then given the issues with Ferrari, we could have had a Sainz winning a race if his prediction was true.
This is a big amount of jumps.
Next, it's going to be Lando Norris world champion 2019.
No.
Go full fast forward
Carlos-
to Science at the end of the season. He's on like 10 points, and he's like, "Yeah, if we'd done this differently, that differently, we would have been world champions, guys. Honestly."
Maybe Sainz, learned a lot from Alonso.
What race against him in a different car?
No, how to handle the media.
Oh yeah, maybe he left a manual behind in his locker room.
Yeah, just criticise the engine when it's too slow. Rule 1.
He's
No,
his
yeah,
idol after all.
That was some amazing pace from Sainz, though. Like, he was going to pass Verstappen and just keep going. My goodness, he was going really well, and then Verstappen, being Verstappen, ruined his race.
I don't think Verstappen ruined his race.
I don't think it was his fault. No,
He lost the aero, hit the curb, and was put in that kind of position where he was going to hit.
Well, Sainz didn't leave him room.
Exactly.
Anybody who knows that corner knows that if you leave a car on the inside there, they're going to have to turn eventually. And
I think
they're not
Sainz has
gonna-
never played an F1 game online in that corner when you're racing neck and neck.
I think quite a few of them in the midfield need some public lobbies.
Oh yeah, I think
To really learn how to avoid these crashes.
Get in there, say, here you go, here's a buggy game, and learn how to race against people who can't drive.
That would be a piece of piss in F1.
Oh yeah, dead easy man. That's why Norris is doing so well, because he plays iRacing all the time.
Probably not wrong.
Racer confirmed. Yeah, I mean, Sainz. It's difficult to argue him that he might have had more pace than Verstappen when you look at the advantage he had over Norris over the weekend. Potentially, Mercedes I think would have been a stretch. Maybe the first few laps. I don't know what he was saying, but yeah, I mean it's bad
I think
luck.
I think he could have had a podium that weekend, honestly. Just because if he would have got past Verstappen, and then obviously Sebastian Vettel spun, and then Charles Leclerc had his engine issues, I think he probably could have squeezed into third at the very least. So,
apparently, oh dear. Apparently, you two aren't actually playing through.
Oh nice.
The
Great being ignored again.
Why has OBS done that? God's sake. I'm gonna have to maybe nick your stream at some point, Hardy. Upload
Feel
the
free to
audio
do
for
so.
this. Sick. I don't know why OBS has done that. It switched my audio device to default rather than my speakers. Okay, great. Cheers, OBS. Why?
Is it working now?
Yeah, it's up now.
Hi, I'm Foxworth, just to confuse the viewers.
well, yeah. If only he had accurate graphics, we could know who's actually.
Yeah, if we had our name mentioned.
Yeah.
You're in the description. I just didn't have time to change the graphics. All right.
Didn't have time, or you didn't care. Which one is it?
I didn't have time. By the fact we were like 10 minutes late, I was still trying to get the images ready. Oh, wonderful! I had no idea you. Oh, it's a disaster. This must have been the weirdest hour and a half of streaming.
Oh, and there's more people watching this than So that must they left and they never said anything. So
it's probably why they left. Yeah,
yeah, join the stream like this crazy man.
It's just having a conversation with himself.
This is my invisible friend Foxworth. He likes loves Ferrucci.
I'm joined by Foxworth and Hardy this week. How are you guys? Silence. Great. Oh, I can't believe I've done that. Right, we're starting over.
All right, Ferrari.
We'll do something later. Yeah, I'll probably have to nick your stream, Hardy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
so.
Professionals.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Massively professional. As always. We expect anything less on this podcast. Yeah, science aside, he's having some bad luck, isn't he? I'm sure he'll get better at some point. Or
For sure.
get the other Rob of the Green. But Norris continues to impress. He fixed his issues of Australia of being too scared to overtake people.
Too scared, or was it impossible? My goodness.
I think it was a bit
That's
of
a hard
both.
one.
I think he was scared of just sending it down the inside because if he gets taken out in the first race, then all the media story is Lando Norris good enough for F1? Whereas he left that weekend being the rookie's done well, and then he comes to Bahrain and he does even exceptionally well.
Guess how many points he has?
More than me.
8.
I didn't even need to know that to get the meme. Yeah, please,
yeah,
please
already
let him
matching.
score another one.
Oh gosh, yeah. If he just sticks at 8 for the rest of the season, that would be terrible.
I don't know. I've got a feeling Science might be the buck of that joke.
And really, after what he just did in qualifying, and then before his mistake with Verstappen, I think that
just the way
Alright,
his
we're
luck's
good.
going. I think
It's the mistakes, isn't it? The mistakes cost you points.
I think we know that I like Sainz. I think we've discovered this.
He's a
I
great
feel like
driver.
Ferrucci. How dare you like Sainz as well?
You can't write like 2 drivers, Fox. It's
I
just,
like every driver except for Hamilton.
Okay, I'm out of the podcast. Bye, guys.
Yeah, there's far too many questions raised by that. But Rich, Science has had bad Luke, but he has showed better this weekend. Yeah, he's got the pace. There's no denying that. We know that. He's just having bad luck. But Norris was, yeah, I think it was a bit of nerves in Australia. You've just got to look at, I think, what was it? Grosjean and who was the other? Someone else, but both of them breezed past Ericsson.
Ericsson?
Ericsson?
Are we talking IndyCar again?
Got it in my head now.
Factual stream.
Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Giovinazzi. I remember when he was Swedish.
Yeah, please. Yeah, Ericsson, he's busy going into the wall right next to a porta potty.
Creating another timeless meme.
He's been trying to win a national championship.
Yeah. Which is why we don't really care. But
I'm gonna look this up now. I don't think it's considered a national championship, but we'll see.
I'm sorry for triggering you.
I think it is like NASCAR is definitely.
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah,
'cause
it's the National
national.
Association or whatever.
I
or
know,
National
but the point
Automobile.
is they act like it's the biggest like world event, but it's a national championship at the end.
Yeah,
of the
only
day.
10 people watch it.
It's
So.
basically British touring cars. This is on a bigger scale.
Yeah, but touring cars are great. You had Matt Neal, Gordon Shedden, Andrew Jackson.
Oh yeah, but I'm not under no illusions. It's not a World Series.
Yeah.
Unlike NASCAR fans. Getting back to Norris. Yeah, I don't think he's put a foot wrong so far, is he? He's
Oh no, he's
really
just
is
like a
talented lad.
superstar. I'm calling it now, future world champion. No, it's bold, but yeah.
He's definitely got the talent. It's whether he gets the car. As it is with
yeah,
a lot of these
yeah.
guys.
Is McLaren a future world champion? Is the question.
Probably
Well,
not.
That's the other big
Not right now.
big thing, isn't it? That they really have turned it around. Considering they were, but a lot of the talk has come out that they basically stopped development of that car halfway through last year. Have really tried to understand their problems to push things forward. I think the limiting factor is going to be that Renault engine, isn't it? Which is going to stop them getting close to the top 3, even if they do assert some kind of dominance by the end of the year over the midfield. That's still their issue. Is going to be the engine. But pretty flawless from Norris, and I'm very happy to see him. He's a good lad, and I've got to say, I didn't think I would after Jenson Button, but I think I might have a favourite driver again in Formula 1. And it's going to
Jenson
become-
Button, wasn't he great?
He has a good personality too.
Yeah, he's a good lad, and he's a sim racer as well, which is even better. But
Yay, sim friends.
has a love-hate relationship with Matt at WTF1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gets them early, Matt.
That's the second. That's the
clerk and-
second podcast we've done together, Fox, and you've mentioned the rival again. How dare you?
I'll point out again, if you mention them all we want, if we actually became a rival of them, because that would mean we were actually a rival of WTF1. I know WTF1 forget to turn off on half the microphones.
No, the
WTF1
microphones were
take
on.
it.
You just forgot to.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Red audio stream.
gave the impression they weren't.
Yeah.
Rich,
They probably have someone actually listening to the
So we need to do like
podcast.
an instant best reaction.
Wow.
No, I mean like actually have someone
Oh, is in monitoring it.
producing
Like a-
producing the podcast. Yeah.
That's why I enter the lottery each week. It's not to buy fast cars or houses. It's just to buy a studio and have someone produce the most ridiculously over-engineered Formula One content. Just have like a £1 million studio and just still the same level of crap.
So yeah, make sure you sub to Jay right now because he needs that studio.
Yeah. Start a Patreon to get us a studio. Rich, why is McLaren improved when Alonso left? I think it's more, as I just mentioned, it's more that they took the conscious decision to stop developing the car very early last year to understand where they'd gone wrong. I think they finally started to understand the problems with their chassis, and that's where the improvement's coming from.
And they also have cheaper salaries.
Oh yeah, and they also have some money to actually spend on the car now. But they must still be paying Alonso because he's testing for them.
Are they? I mean, probably not the same amount.
No, I know. Rich prefers our podcast over WTF1. Now, if we could just get 300,000 other people to agree with that, we might be getting somewhere. But I appreciate it.
You tell all of your friends, and then they'll tell all their friends, and then they'll tell all their friends, and then by the time it gets to their set of friends, they'll think that you're telling them about the WTF1 podcast, and they'll watch that instead.
And then when they finally come here, they'll end up seeing Rich draw a massive penis on every single car.
Yeah. That probably doesn't help.
Well, at least 10% of them will be, I found my place when that happens.
Home.
Yeah. So we'll get 30,000 viewers concurrently. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Easy.
Just as long as I actually do some prep and make sure everything's working first, would be a good thing. Right, who have we got next? I wrote down my imaginary order. So I will have.
Can't wait for this 18K image.
It'll probably be the complete reverse now, and it'll be incredibly tiny. It's
a 480p.
Alfa Romeo.
Ooh.
So,
Didn't come start, but good start.
I'm getting there. I'm sure I will at one point. Well, if you hadn't mentioned that, I would have at some point.
Yeah. You did already call Giovinazzi Ericsson, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm very offended because Giovinazzi is my favorite driver.
You can't. We've gone over this, Fox. You can't have more than one favorite driver.
Yeah, but he's the only Formula One driver to like my tweet. So there.
He liked your tweets. You must.
He did. He liked one of my tweets.
I had James Collado reply to me.
I have.
He was going to be an F1, then decided I'd go race for Ferrari in the World Endurance Championship.
I have touring car. Ex-British touring car driver and now Renault Cup Sport driver Michael Epps as a subscriber.
Nice.
Ooh.
That's my claim to fame.
That's our version of Jack Aiken in WTF1.
Oh yeah, he still wouldn't speak to us or go on this podcast, but
oh, yeah. If you're watching, please join us.
Yeah. And you get someone to produce it, please. I'm terrible. Evening Humbrian. Welcome along. Right, Alfa Romeo. Raikkonen, I was a little bit worried about how he would do in the Alfa this year, but he's proven that he's absolutely as much of a quality driver as he's ever been.
I love the radio call. How's the front wing? I don't know. You let me know. It's just so good. Exactly what you expected to say.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go, I can't fucking see it. Be more matter of fact, but yeah. We all love Kimi, and it's great to see that he's actually getting some good racing and how happy he'll actually be racing his heart out for 7th place. Probably as happy as he ever is. But he had a great race and continues to absolutely and completely outshine Giovinazzi.
Absolutely battered the Haas, didn't they, this weekend?
Yeah, we'll get to Haas. It was a very, very poor weekend for them, considering.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they started 6th and they finished 6th, and I didn't watch past the first lap, but I'm sure that's how it ended.
You watched a lot of different races, didn't you, Fox?
How do you have all time for those different races?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
that's what you do, isn't it? You record each race and then make supercuts of the race you want.
No,
it's Mom Brother on the grid.
I don't have to record it because I have F1 TV. I don't have to record it. I just hit the replay button.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I might have to get F1 TV this month, even though we don't get the
Okay.
actual streaming of it. You get the history
Oh,
of
yeah.
all the races since like the 70s, don't you?
Yeah, 70s. Yeah, they haven't gotten to the 60s or the 50s yet.
Well, most of it's been lost. That's why.
Yeah. Joey.
Because back then, as with a lot of the beloved British TV shows, the BBC didn't foresee that they would need to keep the tapes and all the reels, so they reused them all.
Ugh.
So there's a good
Still
number of...
plenty Top of the Pops episodes still going around that they don't want.
Still what?
Still plenty Top of the Pop episodes featuring a certain person they don't want anymore, but they got plenty of episodes of that saved.
Yeah, they put that in the keep section.
Oh yeah, that's a reminder.
We may need to use this on a news report about a lawsuit one day.
What happens tomorrow?
But yeah, going back to Alpha, I mean, Kimi is doing the job. Their car looks as good as it did last year. He's doing similar performances to Leclerc, isn't he? Do we think Alpha with the money are going to be able to go any further forward?
I think a little, but I think it's going to take a couple of years at least till they're like the consistent mid. Like, I think the mid of the mid. If Renault get their act together, if Haas get their act together, then they've got such a fight on their hands. It's so hard to like. I mean, they do well, but I think they overperform a lot.
Yeah, I think they have podium potential, but unless they start making Alfa Romeo engines, I don't think they're going to become world champions.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah. They're just there for the sake of finishing seventh.
They're a Ferrari B team at the end of the day, aren't they?
Can't wait for Mick
Yeah.
Schumacher to get up to see it in a couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be either him or who's the
Ferrucci.
no the stop it, Hardy. There's far too many.
Callum,
We need a
Callum
Ferrucci
Millet?
counter in this. Yeah, Callum Iltram.
Ilot or whatever. Yeah.
That
Interim.
guy.
Where did you get interim from?
Iltram.
Or-
I said.
Or Juan Manuel Correa, who's their test driver.
Potentially, yeah. I would see him more, maybe being lined up for a Haas seat though in the future.
Or Alesi's.
Oh, yeah. What?
John Alesi's got his son F2 now.
Oh yeah,
So,
Giuliano Alesi. I think.
Giuliano, there you go, so we could get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
possibilities for that, but that's
think,
what
yeah,
they're there
he's-
for, isn't it?
He can at least do twice as many wins as his father, probably.
Or Emerson Fittipaldi's, what's his name? The
Pietro.
junior. There you go.
Who was in IndyCar last season?
Still better than Ferrucci. Add one to the counter.
Yeah,
Actually, he wasn't better than Ferrucci. Add one to the count. Ferrucci.
I don't like Ferrucci. Add 10 to the count.
you finished?
Have you got the next image ready? Have you got our mics on?
Have we finished with Alpha?
Yeah.
What else can we say?
Giovinazzi's pretty poor, I guess.
Pretty
Pretty
shit
pretty
again.
good. You know, he took out Kvyat without damaging his car, so that's pretty awesome.
Yep,
That was
good
very
job for
clear to
him.
them. That's damaged the car.
But
I really liked Giovinazzi actually racing, like his past weekend with Australia and his defensive driving and stuff. I think he's going to make a good, have a good season.
Right,
I don't
this
know
isn't
if he's
like
going to
dig at
stay.
Foxworth, because it's just like, I know we're going to clash a lot this year. I just do not like Giovinazzi. I think there's so many better drivers out there that could do so much better in that seat.
Why don't you think? Why don't you like him? Come up with facts. Support your argument.
Right. It just seems like he seems like it's a no mark. Like, okay, in like F1, if someone says Hamilton, you're like, oh my god, it's Hamilton, Raikkonen, Leclerc. It's Giovinazzi. It's like there's no interest about him. There's no buzz about him. There's no. He's like a dull personality in a way. It's like a dead weight. His driving ability doesn't look anywhere near as well as anyone they've got coming up in the future. Mick Schumacher, if he carries on the performance level he's going through, he's got to straight away get that drive. He's like another Marcus Ericsson in a way, and that's not a joke. It just seems like he's going to be there for a few years, not really do much. Had this little talk of, it's Giovinazzi, he's a Ferrari, that's right, whatever, and then he just ends up crashing into Fiat and a wall.
He didn't crash into the wall. They both continued.
No,
and
they'll
there's
crash into
penalties.
Fiat and crash into a wall during this. That'll be his main races.
Crashing into Kvyat is basically crashing into a wall.
Oh yeah.
Please, it's a torpedo.
Yeah, the wall of a torpedo. That would have been better. You're right. I think with Alpha, as Sauber, they struggled to really find their direction. I think they've got it now under Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, because money helps.
Yeah, and I think they've got a clear philosophy, which I think they should is interesting compared to the other B teams, and is one that I hope they stick with, and one that Giovinazzi was just filling a gap more than anything. But it's having this experience, known quantity that can get results out of the car consistently, and then you can put the young gun against them to see how they do, and give them a real benchmark. I think Giovinazzi was just, at the end of the day, was the best option they had, because they have got this huge stable of drivers coming through, but none of them are quite ready yet. And
he's a placeholder, that's all he is.
Yeah, and I can see him completely being replaced next year by the likes of Mick Schumacher or Lacey or that guy.
Illet. Whatever.
Elliott,
I mean, if he gets his act together, I mean, he's not doing bad races. He's just, I don't think his strategy has been good either races. And
I
plus,
still think it'd be great to see Jake Dennis get that seat.
I mean, I could see him being a gap driver for Ferrari if he does do really well in the coming races.
Absolutely not.
I think that
I have seen no talent out of Giovinazzi. The first two races he had, he crashed into a wall.
That's exactly where I come from. There's no skill level there.
He's shown nothing in these first two races to show he's anywhere near the level needed, I'm afraid.
Their desire for an Italian driver and Vettel's possible self-destruction, I think, could end up with Giovinazzi getting a seat for a season or in a season. No, I could see.
Ferrari would find many better takers. Ferrari don't have to go with youth. That's the thing. They've got their young star now. They've got time to bring up the next one.
But I feel like just because he's Italian, they want to get him in that seat.
Yeah, but look when they put Fisichella in the seat after Bado in 09. It just went so disastrously wrong after he got second in Belgium in the pole for Force India.
Yeah,
so I think that was... he can work against them.
Yeah, he did better than Badoa though, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I think anyone could do better than Badoa that year. Maldonado could have done better than Badoa.
Yeah, probably would. Maldonado's a good driver. Don't take it.
Oh yeah, everyone says he's a good driver.
Rich Giovinazzi, in my opinion, can't improve anymore, and he's not good as others, and he can drive, but not to the edge. Yeah,
I'd rather Verline come back and have that season.
That's the thing. There's so many better options. They're waiting for their young talent to go through. Ferrari will use Alfa as a feeder, and I think they should stick. And I think it is a good strategy to have that known experience quantity next to them. The likes of Raikkonen and whoever else they can maybe get after him. So
Vettel.
Can you imagine?
Well, it comes in an old folks' home for when they're done. You just get, thanks, he says, Vettel, I'm going to join Kimi at Alpha.
Yeah. go spend a year or two at Alpha and you'll get your pension.
Yeah, you talk about all your victories you used to have back in your day.
Pretty much. Right, who have we got left? We got Toro Rosso. That one's kind of almost scaled. Not really, though. There's Giovinazzi. Let's try
Best driver in the world.
It's Giovinazzi, right?
Giovinazzi or Gio the Nazi. It's however you want to pronounce it. I don't think he even cares anymore. But like Leclerc, some people call him Leclerc. It's just...
It changes. Like Vettel.
Even Hamilton had that in the interview. He said, is it Leclerc or Leclerc? And they're like, come whatever you want.
This comes with Formula One. Ricardo, Vettel. I can't think of any others.
Kvyat.
Yeah.
Maldonado, good driver. Same thing.
Raikkonen.
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually heard anyone say Raikkonen.
High production stream in Twin Barrel J.
Yeah. Do you think that once
slick,
you win,
that one.
once you win a world championship, they figure out how to say your name?
Yeah. I couldn't say Hamilton until he won. I was just going, Lewis Hamilton.
That's convenient because he won, his second season.
Yeah.
Didn't have to wait too long.
Okay, Toro Rosso.
Yeah. Just like Ferrucci. No.
Add one to the counter. FF's gonna be extending for Formula Ferrucci at this rate.
By the time I
Bring the
actually,
Formula
Rosso.
Ferrucci podcast.
by the time I
Ferrucci fan
actually
club.
get this properly worked out in terms of overlays and stuff, we're gonna have so much on screen. Giovinazzi counters, IndyCar counters,
Yeah.
meme counters.
Do you think if we name this Formula Ferrucci that we could get him on the podcast?
No,
Could do if we
Okay.
tweet him.
to be honest,
He doesn't respond to any tweets.
No, I mean he wouldn't
respond
like
to
my line of questioning anyway. So,
Yeah, he wouldn't like mine if I said, "Hey Ferrucci, why are you so crap?"
what was that GP2 stuff about? Let's go back to that.
Oh yeah. How'd you get on with Arjun Maney?
Yeah,
Argent Mania is a baby, but that's a different conversation.
well, Ferrucci's a baby.
Anyway, back to Toro Rosso then, boys.
Yeah. Decidedly average weekend for them. I think Albon shined, getting points.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah, Albon done well. I
Yeah,
think
Albon dragged the result out of that car. The car was nothing special.
Fiat would have been higher if he didn't get taken out by Giovinazzi as well. That has to be remembered. But you can just tell there's more of a buzz around Albon. Like the rookies this year generally are just doing so well. It's not like it's not like we're getting terrible performances out of all of them. I mean, you can look at Williams, and we'll get on to with George Russell, and he's doing a good job there. But I just think there's so much more excitement and so much more talent from Albon than you'll get from Fiat.
Yeah, I think there's more untapped potential there. And I think Martin Brundle has said it best in the past about the rookies. This generation of drivers are the best prepared there's ever been in terms of dealing with the media and getting used to Formula cars and having feeder formulas that work, that are similar spec, that are similar tyres. They're so and they get the test days. There's not a rookie that's done a bad job so far, and Albon's continuing to prove that. He did well to get into the points. Toro Rosso car, it's not looking a great car. I expected a little bit more out of them this year, maybe, but
Well, I don't think it helps that James Key left and he's now at McLaren. And they were the sole designer of that car and then got the team around them. Now they've got to restructure and go, okay, who takes his job? Who does this? Who does that?
yeah, very, very true. It wouldn't have helped. At the end of the day, they are a feeder team. As long as they're knocking around the points, that's going to be good enough for them, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They're never going to have to worry about budget as long as Red Bull are in the sport. So, but yeah, good performance from Albon and Kvyat. Yeah, I think Giovinazzi's did affect his result. And he's not doing a bad job, but he's definitely, I think, being outshone by Albon so far. Which I'd be a little bit worried for Albon if he didn't, considering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Australia was amazing for Kvyat, but yeah.
Apart from his rookie mistake of dive bombing.
Well, yeah. But holding off a Red Bull was pretty nice, and also Albon was fighting a Red Bull as well, but I mean, quote unquote
I think
Red
that's
Bull.
all Gasly's been fighting, isn't it, so far as Toro Rosso's?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's told him he's in a Red Bull.
That's what like
dial saying more speed.
that's why I'm worried about the Honda engine is because like it's not getting around the Toro Rosso at all. But I guess the Toro Rosso basically has the same aero kit as the Red Bull.
Yeah, but I think the Toro Rosso has a lot less to lose than the Red Bull, so they can run that engine as a test and be like, right, can we run it in more performance? Can we run it in this configuration first? And then give it to Red Bull.
I guess, but it's just like it's worrying to see a Red Bull taking a couple laps to get around Albon, you know? That's just not good signs for either Red Bull or Gasly.
Yeah, does that reflect more on Gasly than Honda though? Let's have a look this time round, shall we? Speed traps for qualifying. So it goes Ferrari, Renault, Mercedes, Honda, to be fair, but that's the top four. Gasly's top speed. Yes, that's it. It looks like Toro Rosso actually have done that on purpose. They're consistently a lot. They were consistently a lot quicker than Red Bull in the speed traps. So I think they just set up their car up maybe to be quicker in a straight line.
Yeah, plus you got the difference in aerodynamic capability as well. If Adrian Newey's got a car that can handle cornering better, it's going to hold the straight line speed. He'll maximize corner and take some off the top speed. Whereas Toro Rosso, you're going to lose. You go for it on top speed and try and work in some cornering.
Who do you reckon was slowest in the speed traps in Bahrain?
Slowest, probably the
Robert
Williams.
Kubica.
For qualifying. Both going Williams?
I'm gonna guess it's not Williams.
Could be.
Is it Williams?
It's not Williams.
Okay. Just Red Bull.
Nope.
Renault.
Nope. Haas. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Grosjean's such a good driver this year.
They were a long way down.
I think Ferrucci should be in that car.
Add one to the counter. I think Richie should not be in that car. Add another one to the counter.
Yeah, there we go. Russell was actually in the Williams was sixth, quickest in the speed trap. So that's not their problem. We all know their problems. Just grab a couple of comments from Rich. Albon does have more time and non-release potential compared to Kvyat. Yeah. In my opinion, Gasly is just really struggling with the Red Bull chassis. Yeah, I think so. Right, who we got left? We've got 2 teams left. No, 3 teams.
I was supposed to 3 teams. Let's not forget Williams again.
That's not actually who I was forgetting in my head. Who I was forgetting is who we will have next. Which is...
I'm going to guess Racing Point.
No, it's Haas I actually forgot.
You forgot Haas after saying that they were the slowest in the speed traps.
I just forgot that we hadn't done them. That's all.
Okay.
Calm down.
Do we have to?
Come on then, Mr. Resident American. You can open this one. What's your opinions of Haas this weekend?
They just didn't have race pace. I'm going to guess that they set up their car for qualifying and it just did not transfer well over to race trim well.
But if Haas been in IndyCar, they could have Ferrucci driving that car. Add another one to the counter.
I've already said that Ferrucci should be in the car. My goodness. You missed that. Gosh. Yeah, no, I just think the race pace wasn't there. As you know, Magnussen has said, and a lot of people have said. So
Haas, for me, it was one very, very crucial error that ruined their weekend, which was they decided very early to try and put... They got it the wrong way round. They stopped Magnussen early and then said, okay, we're going to switch to a one-stop. Well, that's not how it works. You've got to go halfway into the race. And that's where he drops off the pace from the front guys. Because he was there nursing his tyres. He was trying to get them to the end and then realised that they had to stop again. And by which point it's far too late. It was strategy. The pace was there in the car, I think.
But I think they changed the strategy because they're like, okay, the pace isn't there on these tires. Let's bring them in, get them on the mediums. Right, oh, gosh, but the pace isn't there either. Let's try to do something. Everyone's going to stop. Let's try to one-stop it and overcut them and get a better result. And then they're like, these tires aren't going to last, so we got to pit them again. It doesn't really matter. We're out of the points. So I think it was a right strategy, but I mean, obviously it didn't work out.
No, it was the wrong strategy, I'm afraid. The radio message was, he was still knocking around the top 10 when he was given the radio message, right, let's see if we can try and take these. We're going to see if we can go on the one stop. And that's when he started dropping back massively.
Well, yeah, because he was driving a lot slower.
Yeah. But if he kept up the pace and they'd committed to the two stop, he would have been there or thereabouts. And when the 2 Renaults dropped out, he would have been comfortably in the points. So, strategy maybe for me. And Grosjean, we obviously never got to see.
But at least it wasn't his fault.
I think it was.
No, really? we all know who to blame. It was Ericsson.
It was Ericsson.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think Grosjean could have given him more space.
Yeah, I think Grosjean definitely.
He didn't even know he was there.
It was a racing incident, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But if I was to put blame on anyone, I would say Grosjean could have given him quite a bit
more
space. Yeah.
I
think
don't think.
Grosjean's just like getting past it now. When Haas signed him, it's like, oh, we got this Renault driver, Lewis Renault driver. He's going to be great. He's going to do amazing things. And after the season's end with Haas, it's been so disappointing that I don't think he's got much time left in that car, unless he picks up his performances.
I just don't know if there's anyone to replace him yet.
There's a guy in America called Ferrucci. He could replace him. Had one.
Stop!
Doesn't
Stop! Please, for the love
Doesn't-
of God.
Formula Ferrucci.
I'm glad that we could tee that up for you, Hardy. That was a good job.
Knocking him out of the park.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't know, Grosjean. He seems to have had the pace. He's just not had the races. It could be luck at this point. We don't know until we get a little bit further into the season. I think on his day, he's still one of the best midfield drivers, but it's just his day is getting few and far between.
I tell you who would be good to see in that car, friggin' Sergio Perez. Get him out of a racing point, get him out of this whole mentality of like a team that doesn't have a big budget. So obviously got money now, but you could put him in that Haas, have a Ferrari partnership, which he was at one point linked with, and then put him against Magnussen. And I think he'd get a stronger lineup because he'd be more consistent than Grosjean.
I like that idea, actually. I do like Perez.
We agree on something. Oh my god, it's a miracle.
And
I
we
mean,
will end the podcast
whenever-
there. We'll never do it again.
Whenever there's rumors that he was heading to Haas last year, I was like, "Ooh, this is a good idea." I mean, not only is it he's just a good race driver, but I mean he's also the closest thing to an American.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
have.
when Haas entered with Grosjean and they announced him, they were like, we've got a proven podium scorer. And if he's not getting podiums, then get someone who else was a proven podium scorer and more reliable, more consistent, and you bring in Sergio Perez. Give him bigger budget. You've got the Ferrari partnership. You've got someone who knows how to actually handle the car, not whinge down the radio at Ericsson when it doesn't hit him. So
He didn't say that. That was the engineer.
yeah, but he still whinges and moans, and
Oh yeah.
he's still a crybaby.
Let's not put words in people's mouths and get sued or something.
Yeah, please don't sue us,
Yeah,
Haas. I know you're big fans of the Formula Fun podcast.
No, please, can we? I'd like the publicity. Anything at this point. No, it's difficult. I think Haas are waiting for a junior driver just for the right one. Perez, it might be a good move for him considering Force India Racing Point's current situation and pace, but at the same time, I think Perez has got to look at the long game here. And I can't see. There's still a potential with the money of Racing Point getting.
But the other factor as well is
The
it is
better
Stroll's team technically, so it's Daddy's boy gets Daddy's boy
yeah.
wants.
Will Perez ever get a good car at Racing Point, or will Daddy's boy get the #1 role?
I think Force India are far too. Force India Racing Point are far too. That's twice, for God's sake. They're
They
far
didn't even
too-
call him Sauber once, so how are you struggling with Racing Point?
They stop changing your names, people. Okay.
Bring
We
back
want the
Ferrucci.
same team names from 1970, and that's it.
Van Wall coming back next year.
Yeah, I mean,
No racing partnerships.
Van
Nothing.
Wall Maserati 250F. Bring it back.
yeah, they've all got to remain the same as they were before. It's I don't see that Race Point would ever be stupid enough to give one driver a beneficial car. I think I still don't think that really happens anymore, even with #1 and #2s. They get preferential treatment on track in terms of pit stops and letting the other driver through, but
Except
the
for
cars,
Red Bull.
cars would be absolutely. That happened with a
And-
wing once in 2012. You know what I mean? It's like I honestly don't think it. I think it's
Which
fun.
didn't even matter in the end because Webber still won the race.
Oh, exactly. Not bad for a #2.
That's what I'm here for, Rich. What are you talking about?
You should be on the next podcast, Max. This is going to start getting way too crowded. We maybe have to do a 1 in, 1 out rule at least between podcasts. We'll work it out. But potentially in the future, Rich, by all means. I'm always open to having more people. Yeah, I just can't see a modern F1 team doing that nowadays. But I just feel that the money is there. The problem with Haas is they're never going to improve past their midfield position because of Ferrari's influence, unless they find a way around that.
I don't think it's Ferrari's influence that's the issue. I think it's they don't want to put the big investment that is required to be a top running team.
But why would you enter Formula One knowing that you need big investments to succeed? Because Mercedes put big investment, they succeed. Ferrari put one in, they succeeded. Renault in the 80s did it. Williams did it. You know it's a model that works. So if
But I mean, their philosophy is let's try to get the best result possible with like a
With-
tenth of the people.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that's what I mean. That's why I don't think it would be a good move for Perez in the long run. I think Perez is at the stage of his career. He's got to make a choice and stick with it till the end of his career now to see if it works out. And he's got the position in that team that he can show that now. And he's clearly... Well, I still think he's a better driver, but Stroll has done well, to be fair. But
Yeah, Stroll's no slouch. That's for sure.
no, but I still think he'd be better off. I think Haas will be... I think you're right. I think it's because a better option hasn't come along to replace Grosjean, and I think it will be a junior driver when it does happen. It would just make more sense. Ferrari want to get as many, as we just discussed, Ferrari have a whole stable of junior drivers now. They want as many seats as they can get for them. So, yeah, I would see one of them going into the Haas at some point.
Yeah. Leclerc?
Right.
No.
Yeah, Vettel's. Can you imagine Vettel's influence pushed him back out of the team? That would be the final nail in the coffin for Ferrari's competency, wouldn't it? Right, Racing Point, Pink Panthers. Shocking weekend, really, wasn't it?
Oh, it was dreadful.
They just
Where the hell were they?
No pace. I think the midfield's just got too strong for them at the moment. There've been so many improvements by the likes of Haas, McLaren, Renault, and Alpha. They've just been left behind at the moment. But a lot of people said that money has come too late to influence the car this year, necessarily, or early on. So we'll see when they historically bring big updates to Spain. So we'll see if they can make a step forward then. But not a good weekend for them. But Stroll never really got to show his pace anyway with the incident at Turn 1, and Perez was pretty much nowhere. It was a pretty poor weekend for them, wasn't it? Talk about DRS at the end. You said that twice, Rich. Am I missing something there? What's the DRS at the end?
He's just talking about people like getting ahead of someone. Like I think Norris passed. I don't know who it was, but then he got DRS and not the other person in the next straight.
Oh, well, the first two detection zones and how it worked.
Yeah.
And DRS in general. Yeah, I mean, it's... I see why they do it. I mean, DRS has been a good source of entertainment since it came in. It has worked, but maybe too well at times. I think potentially, it should have. Of course, the point of it is it's supposed to get you alongside into the braking zone so that it's then up to the drivers to decide who wins the corner. They maybe got it a bit wrong here. I would agree. I'm not a fan of these single detection zones, 2 activation zones, similar to what we have in Canada. You see it time and time again in Canada where someone gets past someone on the main straight and then they are about a second clear by the time they get to turn 1 because they get DRS again. I think that's wrong. I would agree with that. It needs to be 2 detection zones, or 1 detection zone per activation zone. The fact that it's overpowered, they maybe have got it a little bit wrong.
I think it's more like if they shorten the distance of the DRS zones, now they've got this bigger slot gap. So if you take 100 yards off it, then they'll be neck and neck by the time you get to the end, which is what it's designed for anyway. Not what would it passed you halfway through the straight.
Yeah, it's getting that detection zone right, isn't it? Which is very difficult to guess before the cars have even gone on track. I understand that. If we go for the other rule regs, do we think that they seem to be able to follow now that we get a better look at it? It did, on the face of it, seem like, especially between the top teams, they were able to get and stay a lot closer to the car ahead.
Yeah,
I think it's not a silver bullet, is it? But
it's better than what it was.
Improved, yeah. And then maybe that's what's also made the front wing seem more prominent. They maybe didn't need to make both changes, did they? Maybe the thing. Right, final team. we won't forget them. I'm sure it won't be a long conversation though. Where are they? Of course, the only pictures I could get of them on track were completely alone. Williams, I mean, yeah, they're still in no man's land, aren't they? They weren't going to get any miracles between Australia.
You know it's bad when they brought back Patrick Head out of retirement as a consultant to come fix it. It's I don't know even know what to make of it anymore. It's so embarrassing to see. Like last year, you could say, okay, the car was that bad, they would stop developing that really early. You said, right, we know what the problems are, we'll fix them. They kept telling us in the interviews, we know the problems, we'll fix it, we'll get it sorted. And then they come produce this car, and it's got the same kind of problems. It's just so bad.
Do you think that this will kill Russell's career?
No, I think it will kill Kubica's career.
Well, yeah.
It depends.
I think Russell has. If Russell gets the most out of that, he'll do a Stroll. Because Stroll's now moved up, even though he had the terrible car. Russell's got the Mercedes back, and he knows once there's an opening somewhere, that he'll get moved up. Because money talks.
That's the thing. I think if Russell has them, if he loses to Kubica, it really damages his career. If he beats Kubica, I honestly think it is make or break for both of them. Because Kubica, if he loses to Russell, you know, it's what most of us expected, and he probably won't get the seat again unless money comes. Russell, if he loses to Kubica, that's not a really great sign for him. And vice versa if they beat the other. So I do think it is a very important battle for both of them. And it could be career-ending for either. Personally, I think
Russell's going to be more well looked after than Kubica. They'll hand Kubica out to dry if he doesn't perform, which is a shame because they'll get probably halfway to the season and they'll say excuses like, "Oh, it's his hand," "Oh, he's uncomfortable in the car," whatever. But when it comes down to it, if you're just not good enough, if you're just not fast enough, not quick enough, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, but he was a lot closer this weekend.
True.
Yeah, you got to remember that has he been in an open-seater car in a race situation for how many years?
10.
Yeah. And whereas Russell's
Well,
coming off
9.
of a Formula 2 championship. So, I mean, if anyone's more prepared, it would be Russell.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to take him time, isn't it? I haven't actually got the race time, so I don't know how far apart they were. But qualifying was, 400ths. Not bad at all for Kubica, someone that was a second off the pace. And there was a lot of talk that there was an issue. They changed his entire floor over the weekend to try and get rid of this disparity between the two cars because they think that's what caused it. So it's a very real battle between the two of them. It's a shame that they're doing it at the back of the grid, nowhere near anyone else.
They turned into Sauber from 2017.
They need a driver who's capable of getting the most out of it. And any driver who's free at the moment to get the most out of that, Williams, is Ferrucci. I'd want to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would see it now.
You surprised me with that one.
Fucking Dennis.
Jake fucking Dennis.
Get him in that car. Rich, the front wings have not changed much in my eye. It's a little better than Australia. They were able to follow in the dirty air, but not over time. Still now at Bahrain was overtake fast like last year. Yeah, we get more of a picture as we go on, but I think there is an improvement, definitely. Which is the best you could ask for, I think, without a radical change to the entire car. There was an interesting interview with Ross Brawn over the weekend with Martin Brundle. They've got the new proposed cars, the ones that the FIA want, running in the wind tunnel. And when they follow each other in the wind tunnel, it's a 5% loss of downforce. At the moment, it's 50%. So that's the kind of drastic change they could make. Sorry, Hardy?
It's going to be ridiculous to see, just incredible. Just if you're in a car that only loses 5% of your downforce while following, it's going to be astonishing.
Oh, the level of racing would be insane, but I still wonder if they'll ever get anywhere close to that in production in terms of getting teams to agree to it, because they've got to be so radically different to achieve that. But yeah, we'll see. Right, it's a good race overall, wasn't it? Much needed after Australia, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And,
Oh yeah,
countdown to 1,000 next race out in China as well.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I thought it'd be much more than 1,000. It's hard to think that Rubens Barrichello has been in almost a third of the Grand Prix ever.
That's actually really like mental to think of it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it is. If you're looking at it pragmatically, it's because of the amount of races they had back in the day.
Well, yeah,
But
but
it still is crazy to think as a stat. Absolutely. Yeah, Grand Prix 1000. Let's hope it's a good one. Right, you can have a quick look into fantasy.
This would be good.
Yeah. I think we should just skip over the first two and just go to the person in third. They're
I think
really
we
the
should
winner.
Right, I know it's in the last podcast. I know it's a bit of criticism, but we didn't get to see what Rage's team was called, so I think Jay should read it out.
Okay, we'll have a look.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think
I
we can.
don't remember seeing a name last time.
Oh yeah, that was the issue. Yeah, it just didn't pop up. Yeah. I remember.
Oh yeah, you should be able to see it this time.
Yeah,
so
I did
checked
put a
it
very
earlier,
strongly
and it
worded
is,
email through to F1, but no reply. So I've got a feeling it won't show up again. We'll have a look.
I can't believe that did they not check any names?
You'd think so. A big organisation like Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, God love Rage, you know, he's awesome, but if he like got top of like the number one for fantasy player, and they announced it like on F1 TV with Will Buxton, it's like, who done well in fantasy? It's this team. Then it'd be like, oh, damn, we can't allow that.
Yeah.
That's why you should always be, you know, careful and put fruit cheese, your starting driver, and turbo him.
You know?
Yeah, we need to get him added, really, and Jack Dennis.
Fruit cheese, join the podcast, please.
I'll send a tweet out. You know, he always responds whenever I tweet at him. He definitely looks at
Is he your
social
homie,
media.
is he? Homeboy?
Huh?
Is he like your homie? You know, you're probably like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm like his only fan, so.
Oh, we knew that.
I don't know. You're bringing me around to him just for the counter. Okay.
I mean, he's a really good driver, but yeah.
He's a good driver. Right. So Rob is still leading the way this week. 162 points. You can see his team there. Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Norris, Kubica, and Ricciardo stays unchanged.
He must have been so annoyed when both those Renaults crashed out or ended out.
Not more than
Or-
me.
Or
I was
is
in
he
a position to absolutely boss this week, and then, yeah.
Can we get some predictions after this as well? Because I think
We
that was
will do.
interesting after last time. Can I see them?
We will do, absolutely.
Yeah.
So 162 points there keeps him ahead. Hardy, P2. I think you have closed the
Woohoo.
gap slightly.
Yeah.
No, you haven't, because you're 141 points, one less. So you've lost a point
Ugh.
to the leader.
I need Ferrucci back.
Turboing
The one.
Magnussen.
Same.
Yeah, I thought
That's-
Magnussen was going
yeah.
to be a better pick, and I was like, I might as well turbo him. And it's like, nope, should have gone with Norris.
Yeah,
See,
I think that was definitely the way to go. Sorry, go ahead, Fox.
They need to add all the test drivers from all the teams to the lineup so that I can put them in, and then I would be winning.
Hashtag
That's
bless
really- yeah.
racing.
Yeah.
What?
That's really my issue.
Add the test drivers.
Yeah, you know, like put Pietro in there, got you know, Juan Manuel Correa.
How is this?
Calderon or Ferrucci.
How
Yeah,
is-
Ferrucci.
How is?
He was like a-
I think this is a joke, but I don't get what the joke is, because how is that in
What is
any
that?
way going to help?
Because then I can put Ferrucci in my team and I'd win every week.
Oh yeah, just instant win if you put Ferrucci in your team.
Yeah.
He's so good in IndyCar, he wins in
He
F1.
wins in F1 whenever he wins. Shame he never wins in IndyCar, isn't it?
Oh, I feel so sorry for you, Foxworth. I'm science with 0 points.
Anyway, Foxworth 134 points. You said you
Yeah.
weren't too happy with Turbo and Gasly. You actually got your 34 points,
Well, yeah, 17, but
so not bad.
I was just hoping that he would, you know, qualify 6th and then finish 5th or something.
I think you would have got more points this way.
Probably, you're not.
It's
I have
it's
no
points
clue how
going.
the rules work anymore.
You get points for position in qualifying and race, and then you also get a point per overtake, I think, in the race, in terms of a point forward from position.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
It's weird.
you got 134 points. You lose a little bit of ground to the leaders. Big news! I have jumped 2 places to 4th.
Mother of God.
My substitutions actually didn't do me too bad, considering because of my substitutions I lost 20 points this week. So that would have been 152 and would have been a winning performance. I was on.
Who'd you substitute?
So I swapped out Sainz for Norris, Ricciardo for Hulkenberg.
Oh yeah.
And changed my turbo, I think. Maybe it was only 10 points actually, because the first one's free, isn't it? But yeah, until Hulkenberg dropped out and Leclerc's engine issues, I was on for a huge amount of points. But
yeah, it's fair. Yeah, we were robbed. We were,
but still 132 lifts me to 4th. Team named Rage is
which called what?
5th. Rage's team.
Now what's it actually called?
Team Cream.
Jay touches something on the regular?
No, that's definitely not what it's called.
Jay touches Ferrucci on the regular?
Yes.
He is the smallest.
If we change that, I'll read it out.
He's the smallest driver in IndyCar.
What's good aerodynamically then?
Literally the most uninteresting fact I've ever
Oh, how like you go and say the name, but it's just there on the screen.
Yeah.
It's like, did you see Esteban Ocon in the F1 show with Sky? And they were like, so what happened here? Like, you know, when Hamilton had a triple overtake, and he did like the bracket sign, and he went, yeah, I was fucked, just on live TV. It was so funny.
I did not, but I've got to watch that, find a clip at some point. What an idiot. Yep, so good points Rage for Hamilton, Norris and Raikkonen. Big loser in terms of Grosjean and Ricciardo. I still don't understand Rage's logic with his team. He's gone for Ferrari for the team and then Hamilton as the driver. Surely that's just counterproductive.
Leave my Hamilton buddy alone.
Well, he's not here to defend himself.
I say that, you know, I will put it, you know, I promise on my career as making him front wings and modern for him, that having Hamilton and Ferrari in your team will get you a load of points by the end of the year. Hashtag blessed.
Newcomer to the league again, because we're so short. I've got another guy from work who's a big F1 fan. Bart from Poland. He named himself Asario GP, which is apparently like their mountain.
I'm gonna guess without
something.
looking, he's got Kubica in the league.
Well, do you know he did? But what's even more incredible is he's overtaken someone when he's 1 week down. He got 153 points this week. Just look at that for a team. Verstappen, Bottas, Raikkonen, Kubica, Vettel, and Alfa Romeo. All of them getting over double figures.
Damn, that's a good lineup.
A good team. Right back in the game. And then Handmeister, pretty poor week, unfortunately, with just 66 points. Turboed Ricciardo lost a big deal. Renault minus 5 points as constructor, and he must have been livid when they dropped out. And Stroll on there as well for 10 points. So it's hotting up. The front two starting to make a bit of a breakaway, and then a bit closer in the midfield. It really is like Formula 1. But yeah, we shall carry on and see who ends up with that t-shirt. As always, as Bart has shown here, it's not too late to sign up to still catch up. So if any of you guys are watching and still want to join the Fantasy League, you can go and check the video from a few weeks ago for all the details on that. Super slick stream, starting soon screen. That's not what I want. There we go. Okay, predictions for China. It should be a good race. It was.
Can we go back to the predictions of what we had for Bahrain and see where we're standing with that?
Yeah, you'd have to go over to Fox for that. I don't have any information.
Oh, you don't have a link to put up? Do you want to put it up on the stream?
I don't. Is it the same spreadsheet link as last year?
No, but I can give you a link. I sent a link in one of our Twitter chats.
Did you? I have not seen that. I apologize.
Here, no, you're fine. Here you go. In the Discord. But I can read them out. But, I mean, if you want to show it on stream, you can.
Yeah, no, I'll get it up. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, boy. How did I predict
I don't know.
I'm so lucky.
I thought I did well, and then everyone else did better than me.
Where are yours?
I'm on the Foxworth predictions. Not that anyone asked tabs at the end,
Why do you not put yourself on the same tab?
because I didn't think we were all going to be putting race predictions except for you and Rage. So
You
then
put-
Hardy was like,
put
"I want
Hardy
to
in.
predict things." Well, yeah, because that
Yeah,
was
it's me.
before. That was after I made the Foxworth predictions screen.
Hey, I got the right 3 drivers, just the wrong order.
Hardy's actually ahead of Rage, even though he didn't do race 1.
Easy.
Perfect.
That
How
is
you
true.
doing?
He's going to lose his title. Predicted Hamilton.
I mean, yeah, one way or another, I think he will. Actually,
I think I've actually worked out how to do predictions this year. I do the opposite of what I think, and Rage is doing what I think. Because I would have gone for the 2 Ferraris normally, but I don't know why I went for the 2 Mercedes, but thank God I did. End of season. That's episode 28. Maths. That's not. Where are your predictions?
at the very end, just click the little like.
Oh, you've literally. Okay.
It's at the.
Yeah, I've got it. One
Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
2 halves.
yeah. Two halves. Yeah.
Okay, you're level with Hardy. It's good.
No, Hardy was better.
No, I
The
mean
level of-
overall you've got 2.
Oh,
He's got
overall.
2.
Say that again? Can I just like clip that? Hardy was better?
You do know that I don't hate you, Hardy, right?
I know, I don't hate you.
Okay.
Well,
I was like-
Give
I tell
it,
you, you can't hate Ferrucci. Add 1 to the counter.
give it another 19 podcasts, and we'll see. Championship predictions based on. Is this worked out yet?
I mean, so
Or is it-
far. What do you mean?
Vettel, Hamilton.
Well, you guys haven't predicted anyone else, so there's 0 points for everyone else.
Ah, I'm with you. Right. I wonder why I was a bit sparse. Okay, cool. All right. Predictions for China then.
I guess Rage is gonna miss unless
I can get them off him.
Okay.
Before next time.
Hopefully.
Yes, I should go first. This is important now. I'm in the lead. I didn't care last
Yeah,
time
you
because
gotta
I was
defend
always
him.
losing.
I'm on the way to catch it up, so you better be good.
That's true. Let's do it. Leclerc, Hamilton, Vettel.
That's bold.
Oh wow, this is updating before my very eyes.
Oh yeah, I'm typing in.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm loving this delay on the stream for me.
You think that I'm actually going to skim back through this podcast, which is only half recorded, for the first half.
We've got 2 halves. It's just got my half and then Jay's.
I'm gonna really Frankenstein it. I'll get Hardy's stream. I'll get the audio from the first half, put it with the video of mine, and then halfway through the audio will just
I did have
completely
music. I
change.
did stream for like 10-15 minutes before we actually went live.
No, I'm gonna have to like find a way. You can't download from Twitch, can you?
I can export it to YouTube, and we can find a way to like download
No,
it.
what I'll do is I'll play your stream and record it. Do it that
Ah.
way.
YouTube.
We'll go the long way around.
I've already done my predictions. Or are we doing
Which-
something else?
It's alright because no one cares. So.
Can
That's
do my
fair.
predictions if you want.
Bottas, Leclerc,
I mean-
Verstappen.
That's exactly what I did, actually. Yeah, wow, you read my predictions out.
That's quite a prediction.
That's a very quite like bold prediction
Wow.
for Verstappen. China, that back straight.
Well, I mean, they did well last time, so I was actually I wrote that like as I was waiting for you guys, and then I was like, I should probably change that. I don't think they're gonna luck out this year, and then we started the podcast. You okay?
What
Yeah,
the
just-
hell happened?
Just hit my elbow.
You Jake Dennis yourself.
Yeah, I did.
Right. I think for China it's gonna be Hamilton. This is so tough. Hamilton followed by Vettel by Bottas.
I think Leclerc's going to break down or something.
No, I just don't think Leclerc's going to have the outright speed in China. I think Vettel's gone well in China, especially during the Red Bull days, of course. But I just don't see Leclerc. I think it's going to take a couple of races for Leclerc to get back to. I think Leclerc's first win will come in Monaco.
I don't see him winning Baku. I don't see him winning in Spain. I don't see him winning in China.
That would be amazing. Monaco driver on the Monaco podium. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think we're all waiting for that moment.
That'd be
pretty
awesome.
special. Okay, cool. Well, we are complete.
We're forgetting memes. I have prepared some memes, you know.
Oh, I was gonna do that this week, but sure, go on.
Well, Rage isn't here, so I'll put this one here, and I have to get my others off my phone, off Twitter.
Oh, in
Yeah,
reference to
but
that
I
meme,
have
did you
it.
guys hear about the Red Bull donuts at the end?
Oh yeah, the you spin me right round, baby.
Yeah,
That was
It's
very good.
very strange.
Lost it
moment
on
as
the
well.
curb. Yeah.
Podium finish, pulling a sick 180. Vettel. It's a strong meme. Strong
I
start.
do also have this one as well. They were the two that I managed to find that made me laugh the most. Apart from the one I sent you on Twitter the other day, or like yesterday.
Rage will be happy that you're keeping it alive. Mission
Yep,
spin now.
just-
I've seen that in various forms.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the time and effort. Yeah.
I guess we can put this one in because that's the one I sent you on Twitter, so you can show the people on the VOD that I made myself. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Mission Winnow, I do still have the Raikkonen haiku book.
Ooh.
You do.
I do.
We'll have to dedicate a section to that at some point.
I can't wait for this week's entry. How is front wing? I do not know. Okay, thanks, Kimmy.
Pretty much. Yeah, he doesn't need to write the haikus, does he? He just needs to do his radio messages. No, I don't want to go too much longer on this one, Fox. So I will. We will look at those haikus at some point.
That's fine.
We'll do a section when we get.
Can we just say that, like, I think overall this season's going to be so good, especially when Ferrucci starts winning.
I
Add
know.
one more
add one to the counter?
I'm so excited for IndyCar. Yeah.
Well,
Ferrucci
thank you
can-
everybody for tuning in. We'll leave you with Hardy's meme on the screen.
Yeah.
I apologise for the audio.
Barbers,
issues.
next weekend. It's a pretty cool IndyCar race in Alabama, I believe. So, yeah.
So Fox is now muted on the stream. So just so that you all know, appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Hope you enjoyed the race, and I'm looking forward to the next one in China. Apologies about the audio issues. We'll get that fixed for the VOD. So expect that to maybe be a little bit delayed while I get that sorted out and uploaded. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fox and Hardy, for joining once again.
No problem. It's been on
Of
it.
course. Am I
It's a
still
pleasure.
muted?
No, you're not.
All right. So,
Don't even think about it.
Ferrucci!
Yeah, it's been fun. I was a little bit skeptical about how the podcast would go when we started adding more people, but I think we're getting used to it. I'm sure that will go completely tits up when Rage joins next time.
Can we just do a shout out to Rage, by the way? Like, can we just do, like, I put my stream, can we have, like, hashtag get well soon, Rage? Because, like, I miss him.
Yeah, so Rage has had a small routine operation, but it meant he's been in hospital for a couple of weeks. So he's back home recovering now, and he will be with us, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks. Back on stream in a week or two.
Did I send you the get well soon card I made for him?
No.
I will dig it out now, and off the podcast I will send you it on Discord.
Was it not a get well soon card?
It was a get well soon card, but with my, like, flair, should we call it?
Did it involve salt?
Maybe.
Okay.
It involved salt. It involved the words "get well soon" and a bunch of other cool things. In fact, yeah, I can just paste it in now. You'll love this. There you go.
that is meme of the week, I think.
Yeah,
Meme of the
that
week.
gets 10 wars.
Like a 10 Ferrucci's
No,
and
10,
into the counter.
10 wars. I'll have a
Yeah.
counter, but we're not replacing other words with Ferrucci. Oh my god.
Welcome to Ferrucci with Ferrucci and Ferrucci.
The Formula Ferrucci podcast.
Shit, we've
20
broken the
points
counter. Counter doesn't go any higher. Right, yeah, with that message, yeah, get well soon, Rage. Shame he's not been on here, but I'm sure we'll be back for the next one. Thank you everybody for joining. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll catch you again in China.